Let's go. All right, y'all. I know you saying like, man, when is he gonna start this show? What's really going on? Let's go. Make sure that you guys bless the like button if you haven't already. I don't know. I know you saying like, man, when is he gonna start this show? Where you guys at? Where you at? It's Sunday, man. Church is in service. It's in service. We are speaking the truth. If you don't want to get pandered to, then you're in the right place. You know, one thing we got to understand about the truth is going to get a whole lot of people pissed. But then again, what else is new? Salute to the people. Where you at? And shout out to Medium, man. Shout out to Chris for sending me this video. I appreciate you, Chris, for sending me this video. I was gonna do a review on it because people have been saying, Red, where's the content about, some of the things you used to do? And I love when you mix things up. And that's what I do. I mix things up. FBA all day. Shout out to Scoop. I appreciate you, my brother. All day, every day. Let's get it. Tammy Jackson, what's happening? I appreciate my people for rocking with me in a major way. Houston in the building. Houston via Chi-Town in here. Shout out to the True Warrior Scholar. He's in Chi-Town by the way of Houston. Oh, man, I appreciate you. If you want some of this certified ism, then you're in the right place to be. Along with FBA conversations, we give you a balance. I had people in the comments saying, say, Red, man, a lot of that FBA stuff, we love it. But there's a lot of hoteps in that community who won't be honest about what's really going on. They won't hold Black people accountable. They talk about white supremacy all day. I said, true indeed. I feel you. Black folks need to be held accountable in order to make progress. Can we blame the white man for some of these things? Yes, true indeed. But now that we know better, we must do better. If somebody throws trash on your lawn, right? And you say, well, somebody trashed my lawn, you would be correct. But guess what? They're not coming back to fix it. They're not coming back to clean it up. So it's going to take us to clean up this mess. So if the white man destroyed our community systematically, yes, we have to agree that that is true, but the white man is not going to fix it. It's going to take us to fix it. So let's dive into the conversation. The white man is not coming back he's not coming back to fix something that he destroyed in the first place. It's going to take us to fix the problems in our community, to fix the problems in our household. That's why I gave you that the trash on the lawn analogy, how somebody else did it and you would be right. But screaming at the top of your lungs every day about the fact that somebody threw trash on your lawn is not going to make them come back to clean it up. It's not. Unfortunately, we have to be the ones to clean up the mess because no one else is going to do it. Hit the like button. The game is fluid when it flows through King Supreme in a major way. Shout out to Media Man for the content. Shout out to everybody. Do yourself a favor and do King Supreme a favor and bless that like button as soon as you slide on through.
Vilification of Black women, except Black women.
Did you hear that?
And it goes. I blame everybody.
Now, these dudes are simps, man. You got a bunch of old school simps. No one in their right mind should listen to these men. These are older men in like their 50s and maybe their 60s. And young men in America can't get anywhere listening to a bunch of old guys like this. I promise you. No accountability for the woman. I get it.
For vilification of Black women.
Did you hear that?
And it goes back to Black men also with hip hop, calling women B's and H's. So I blame everybody for the vilification of Black women except Black women.
There it is. I would actually rather listen to a panel full of black women talk about black men, positive or negative, than to listen to a panel of black men talk about black women. Black women are going to be honest. I know that I'm going to hear how they really feel, the good, the bad, the exaggerated, the anecdotal, the delusion, what they believe is, but is actually false, everything. It is no holds bars when somebody asks black women about black men. They will tell you everything. They don't care about feelings, none of that. Whether you agree with it or not, at least black women's conversation is going to be very transparent to where black men can understand what we're dealing with, or we can actually get some truths out of it so we can change some things. But when black men get into these spaces, black men in public conversations often lean toward protection instead of critique. Why is that?
And he's right, man. I ain't gonna say no names, man. I saw a video the other day said protect black women from Anton Daniels. I said, what type of simpery is this? The black women who hang around Anton Daniels hung around Anton Daniels looking for clout, looking to gain something. So protect black women from Anton. What do you mean? Like, for what? They don't need your protection. Those women are, listen, all of those women, they're willing participants. So when I seen this dude say protect black women from Anton Daniels, I said, man, you capital simping. That is simpery 101. Simpery to the 10th power. Anton Daniels ain't forced none of those women to come to his platform. They was rocking with Tampon Daniels, looking for clout, looking for fame and attention. Protect them for what?
Host the biggest.
All those women who hung around Anton, none of those women are victims, bruh. They're not victims. All of those women are clout chasers. They're clout chasers. They hung around Tampon Daniels for clout, fame, and hopes to make money. Fame and notoriety. You understand it? None of those women are victims.
Community activist Derek Muhammad, radio host TD Blackshear, and CEO of Regal Media, Todd Smith. All right, Derek, your thoughts about black women being vilified here in America. Is it a problem? Is it reality?
It is a problem. It is emphatically a reality and has been so for the past 400 plus years. Black women being vilified is not anything new.
He sounds like the first woman that started speaking. So they go back to history. Now let's address what's happening now with black women.
Question is, when did it stop? I mean, think about it. A study was done that said that in media, most black women are seen in three categories: the sapphire, the Jezebel, or the third one is, I forget the third one, but these negative stereotypes. And anytime a black woman expresses her intelligence and she defies these stereotypes, she is indeed vilified.
Brother, they not talking about that. They not talking about the black woman who gets educated and all this. No. And this is a problem.
Vilification is just the gateway to devaluation. So as long as black women are...
Man, this is nonsense. Black people in general have been vilified in America, not just black women. When black men walk down the street, you see white women clutching their purses. Now, we can say some black men have fed into those negative stereotypes. True indeed, when it comes to being thugs and gangbangers. Unfortunately, we have a population of black men who reinforce those stereotypes. Just like we have, unfortunately, we got a lot of black women who reinforce the stereotypes of being a loudmouth, being combative. She won't listen to a man because she didn't grow up in a household with a father to where she's seen her mother respecting the authority of a man. So unfortunately, a lot of black people reinforce these negative stereotypes.
Valued in this country, then they could lose 600,000 jobs in 1 year.
You see that? Back again.
and nobody will bat an eye. I mean, let's look at the historical record. Black women were used as guinea pigs to perform surgery with no anesthesia. Why? Because it went on record that they had a higher tolerance for pain.
I've discussed this before. I'm kind of mad that I didn't clip that video up. But again, brother, we know the history, man. He's talking about present day. We got to stop doing this. As Black men, we got to stop.
So indeed, Black women have been vilified in this country, still are being vilified in this country, and will continue to be vilified if nothing changes.
All right.
Yeah, so right there. What you mean if nothing changes? Whose responsibility is that? That's Black women's responsibility to change that. Brother, we know that very well. We Black men. We know the game. Black men couldn't even wear black in the 90s because we was all associated with NWA and criminals and crooks. Gangs was rampant, all this type of stuff. We know this territory very well. And for you to say that and just leave it at that if nothing changes, okay, how do we make things change? Who needs to be at the forefront? Black women. It's right there. Or
TD, let's hear from you. Your thoughts about
I don't believe that's the reality in the whole corporately. I believe that the segment or a particular.
and this is a big brother, man. This is not a great representation. I mean, it may
Big brother, that's Big Bubba. We just, hey, man, we just gonna call him Big Bubba. Big Bubba's a big brother. Big Bubba need to put the ham hocks and pork chops down, trying to give advice on women. You know damn well Big Bubba ain't got no sexy woman at home. Don't nobody want to hear anything Big Bubba got to say about no women.
You're educated, man, but brother, you got to get your health in order.
Particular people, such as a Jasmine or a Kamala, who vilifies with the potty mouth type ideology, where they are speaking not as the intelligent women that we are accustomed to generally in our community, who are literally sound women who goes about their business of doing things that we have brought up through our lives. We know that they are the most sought after or the most educated part.
Now, he was right. He said the most educated part of our community. And then he said sought after. I'm not sure what he meant by that, but I'll give him some grace, you know, and leave it at that. So Black men, absolutely. Black men still love Black women. They ain't never changed. Look at the marriage rates. Even though it's the lowest, Black men and women still marry.
We need you guys to bless the like button. You guys act like somebody's paying y'all to not hit the like button. You know, I understand we got a lot of people in our community who don't want to hear the truth. You want to be pandered to. You want to listen to hotep conversations that never holds Black people accountable. And you just talk about white supremacy and tethers all day. I get it. Most people in the FBA community, that's what they want to hear. They avoid conversations about accountability. Now, let me say this. The majority of Black men who are marry Black women. 82% of Black men who are married to Black women, and the numbers could be a little higher than that. Now, I'm not saying that the majority of Black men are married. The majority of Black men, listen, getting tongue-tied. I'm not saying that the majority of Black men are married. We know that's not the case. But the majority of Black men who are married marry Black women by 80-something%. So we could kill the nonsense about Black men dating non-Black women and they don't want to get married to Black women. That's a lie. 80-something% of Black men who are married, they're married to Black women. Let's set the record straight.
At an 82% clip. Just wanted to put that out there. Okay. That's what I mean by sought after.
Community, and we expect them to act as such because they are mothers, they are strong women. Because a woman, she can be seen but not heard, and she carry more weight in her beauty and in her essence.
Black Samurai said they're going to end in divorce. Yes, unfortunately, the majority of those marriages end in divorce. That is a fact. I got to be honest.
And how she presents herself as a lady in the streets and the community abroad. The marketplace will bear witness to that fact, that she's a virtuous woman. Rosa Parks sat on the bus. She wasn't cussing and potty mouthing and hollering and screaming. And the dignity and the self-respect, even in escorting her off the bus.
See, this is simpery, man. Listen, let's say black people in general, when black people wore suits every day and went to church, worked hard to feed their families, we were still vilified. Black people were still getting lynched and hung. So it shows you that black people in general have been vilified. All you got to do is study the history to know that. But when you try to make it seem like it's just black women, now you're not being honest. Black people have been vilified. The hard-working black man who went to church every Sunday, that went to work and took care of his family, he still got lynched and hung. So when white people tell you that the only reason that they hate black people is because they're ghetto, and we all know that a lot of black people are not ghetto. A lot of black people don't fit those stereotypes, right? But let's go back to a time in America when there was no such thing as thug and gang culture. White people still hated you. You could have, the black man who went to church every Sunday, the black man who married his woman and took care of his children, he was still vilified. He was still treated like a criminal. He was treated like he got treated less than a human being.
Was not that of a vilification or that of a woman without dignity. All right,
Y'all see at the bottom the title of the show? Are black women vilified in America? Did that have anything to do with the topic at hand? Think about it. Anything.
I think the difference is we have a Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she is not facing the vilification. She's honored. She was honored before she turned against Trump in the MAGA movement. So there is a difference between how black women are treated when they're have a personality. That's how I look at Jasmine Crockett. She has a great personality. But why do we have to?
Oh my God, he caping for Jasmine Crockett. I knew he was a simp. Like, come on, bro. Jasmine Crockett is a bad example of a black woman. She's terrible. So for you to say that Jasmine Crockett has a great personality, Jasmine Crockett is terrible. She's unbearable. Seriously. Jasmine Crockett has done a horrible job at representing black women. How many of you guys in the comment section agree with that? Jasmine Crockett has done a terrible job when it comes to representing black women in a positive light. Terrible job.
Who we are. Why do black men have to shrink who they are, shrink their swag, or shrink their personality to fit somebody else's definition?
Listen to this simp, man.
She was honored before she turned against Trump in the MAGA movement. So there is,
or that of treating a woman without dignity. All right,
y'all see at the bottom the title of the show? Are black women vilified in America? Did that have anything to do with the topic at hand?
Yeah.
Think about it. Anything.
I think the difference is we have a Marjorie Taylor Greene, and she is not facing the vilification. She's honored. She was honored before she turned against Trump in the MAGA movement. So there is a difference between how black women are treated when they're have a personality. That's how I look at Jasmine Crockett. She has a great personality. But why do we have to shrink who we are? Why do black women have to shrink who they are, shrink their swag, or shrink their personality to fit somebody else's definition of what a classy woman should be? Like Brother Muhammad.
No, man. So look, guys, you guys seen the lead in of what's going on. They're talking about the rumbles, the being half naked at the rodeo at Daytona Beach and all this type of stuff. Since when did this turn into a praise worship type situation for black women? We trying to address a real issue here, and you guys aren't doing that. You're doing black women a disservice by sitting there just saying, yeah, we love black women. I love black women too. Doesn't stop me from holding them accountable. I love black men too. Don't stop me from holding them accountable.
I feel the same way. I love black people, black men and black women, but it doesn't stop me from holding us accountable. Black women need to be held accountable. Black men need to be held accountable. You can never grow without accountability, period. Praise and worship is not going to make, how could I say this? instead of giving these women a praise and worship service, now you can compliment them on things that they're doing, that they're making like when you think about their areas of progress, and there's nothing wrong with giving somebody a compliment in areas where they made progress, but at the same time, there will be no elevation without accountability. I'm gonna repeat that. There will be no elevation without accountability. Please believe me.
You guys need to adopt the same mindset, because this doesn't help. If every time we bring up a problem and we get black men and women on a panel saying, oh, nah, man, it ain't nothing. It's been happening. Black women are just fine. They good. Then what happens? Black women will continue to go out there and like, hey, whatever we do, we're going to be excused for our behavior. And then it's going to turn into blaming black men. I'll show you. Hold on. We ain't done.
Said it started 400 years ago with the vilification of black women, how black men couldn't even speak up for their woman when they were raped by the slave master, when they were sold off. And it goes back to black.
But when they bring this point up, and
this is stupid. Black people were lynched and hung by the slave master. Black people were powerless. Whites didn't even consider you a human being in the Constitution. So when you say what black men couldn't do, black people in general had no power. Whites didn't even consider you as a human being. You're simping. This is terrible. And you wonder why a lot of these youngsters say, man, I'm not listening to these old school simps. They're not dealing with the same women that we're dealing with. They're out of touch. They're out of touch when it comes to reality. Nobody in their right mind is going to take advice from none of these simps when it comes to women. They're not. They're not in the field. They're not dealing with modern females of today. This is outdated information. Like I said, black men and black women were both slaves. Black men got lynched and hung, even if he wanted to stand. When black men stood up to the white man back then, you know what happened? He got lynched and hung. You wasn't considered. White people didn't consider you a human being. You were treated worse than an animal. Let me tell you something. White people treated their animals better than black people during slavery.
The victim Olympics type, and you're trying to see who was done wrong the worst in slavery. I've seen black women go on TikTok saying that, yeah, black women had it harder in slavery than black men. Why are you comparing? Y'all trying to win that too? What you mean? Black men was getting deleted when they couldn't speak up. We was all enslaved. Why are we competing with slavery in the black community? What y'all say? The CIA did its job. My God, Lord.
Black men also hip hop calling.
It's like, why are we competing with slavery? Black men and black women were treated poorly. Whites treated their animals better than us. So I'm not going to sit up here and talk about how black women were treated when black people in general were treated worse than animals. There's way too much simping going on this panel, man. And you wonder why young brothers don't want to listen to these old dudes.
And B's and H's. So,
hold on. See, like I said, blaming black men, calling black women B's and H's, and I knew that was gonna come up. I blame the rappers.
Listen, man, black women call themselves B's and H's. Listen to these black female rappers. They call themselves bad bitches and boss chicks twerking on the dance floor. So you cannot blame hip hop. Look at the black women who are in hip hop. Look at your Glorillas, your Nicki Minaj's, your Megan Thee Stallions. Black women call themselves the B word. So you cannot turn around and blame black men. Seriously. Black women have full control over their image. Why? Because you have black female rappers who can represent black women in a positive light, but they choose not to. So whose fault is that? It ain't the black male rappers' fault. There's a lot of black female rappers. Can we honestly say that black female rappers are doing a good job at promoting black women in a positive light? Can we say that?
Blame the rappers when black women are the first ones on the dance floor shaking it and baking it. You know what I'm saying? You calling black women B's and H's, and I knew that was gonna come up. I blame the rappers. How can you blame the rappers when black women are the first ones on the dance floor shaking it and baking it? You know what I'm saying? You know, it's funny. Recently,
look at Little Kim. Little Kim started a lot of this ratchet culture with female rappers. Look at Lil Kim, the queen bee of ratchet activity. That's like me blaming black women for how black men are seen in hip hop. I can't blame black women for how black men treat each other. I can't blame black women for how black men conduct themselves in hip hop. Okay, then. So it's the same thing on the other end. You can't blame black men for the way that black women conduct themselves. Right? They're calling each other the B word. They're over-sexualizing themselves for money. They're telling everybody that they're boss chicks and they won't listen to no man. And anytime you try to correct them, she's talking back, raising her voice. So at some point, black people got to be held accountable for their own actions. Stop blaming other people. Take a look in the mirror at yourself. Nobody's forcing the black man to conduct himself the way that he does. It's the same for black women. I know a lot of people in the FBA community love to hear these hotep conversations. Oh man, this is gender war content. Man, shut your weak ass up, man. How you been married? I don't give a damn about you being married. Okay, then. You know what that's like? That's like rich black people saying, well, I'm not going to talk about issues in the black community because I'm rich. I have money, so therefore I don't care about what affects the black community in general. I don't care because I'm rich. So when you see these black men say, well, I'm married, we're talking about you're personalizing something now. We're talking about what affects black people for the most part, what affects the majority of black people. And the overwhelming majority of black people are not married. And a lot of people who did get married, it ended in divorce. They're not married today. They filed for divorce. So what I'm saying is this: you can't say, well, I've been married 15, 20 years. We're talking about what affects black people collectively. You're personalizing the conversation. You can't fix a problem personalized. You cannot fix a problem when you personalize everything. So by that logic, black people who are rich and well off shouldn't give a damn about the majority of black people that are poor. They shouldn't care.
Bachelor, that woman on the Bachelor show got canceled because she was abusive, right? And there was this woman on TikTok. She was like, how did this show get canceled, but Chris Brown is allowed to tour? I'm like, lady, women are the ones who primarily support Chris Brown's concerts. Thousands of women pay thousands of dollars to take pictures with him. So who are you blaming?
Yeah, like how you gonna blame? Like he made a good point. Women are the ones supporting Chris Brown. You can't then turn around and say, well, black men are doing this. Black men ain't the ones going to those concerts. It's the women going to these concerts. So I don't want to hear it. Black women have control over their image. They really do. Black men, we have control over our image. Now, we can blame it on white supremacy. We can say it's the white man's fault. Blame white supremacy. There will be no elevation without accountability, family. Trust me. You can blame.
Yes. So this black woman here.
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
Who the first ones galloping to the dance floor?
Girl, you look good, want to back that thing up. You a big fine woman, want to back that thing up.
Let's be real, bro. If you in the club right now, Cash Money coming in by the 99, back that thing up. Man, you know how many black women gonna run to the dance floor to start twerking and toot that thing up? Let's be real. So we got to stop pretending like somebody You want to see a black woman church? You working with some back? Yeah. Want a back man? Want to walk her like a dog? Yeah. Break you off? Yeah. You know how many black women gonna run to the dance floor to toot that thing up in the air? Ain't nobody forcing you to do that. So my thing is this, black people, if you know better, you got to do better. You got to stop blaming a white man. The white man didn't tell you to run to the dance floor to toot that thing up in the air. You chose to do that. Yeah. Cash money taking over by that 99. You're working for some back? Yeah. On the back? Yeah. Want to walk you like a dog? Yeah. Break it off? Yeah.
Allowed to tour. I'm like, lady, women are the ones who primarily support Chris Brown's concerts. Thousands of women pay thousands of dollars to take pictures with him. So who are you blaming? Y'all asses. Soon as black women here,
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
who the first ones gallop into the dance floor?
Girl, you look good, want to back that thing up. You a big fine woman, want to back that thing up.
Like, come on, man, we can't use that argument.
I blame everybody for the vilification of black women except black women.
Did you hear that? Did y'all hear that shit?
No, I blame everybody for the vilification of black women except black women.
There it is.
I want to walk it like a dog. Yeah. Break you up? Yeah. Want to walk it like a dog? Yeah. Break you up? Yeah.
Ain't that crazy? So recently I put this out because I was listening to the Breakfast Club interview with the most recent Breakfast Club interview with Dr. Umar, right? And of course he pushed back the school opening in 2027 August, I believe. But what I noticed is that, and I'm gonna read what I wrote, verbatim. In Dr. Umar's attempt to hold black women accountable for the behavior of black women, Dr. Umar often frames black women as if they're acting without guidance, implying they lack judgment or accountability, while simultaneously placing the responsibility on black men to correct or govern that behavior. Okay? Rather than directly criticizing black women, he redirects the blame onto black men, positioning them as responsible for how black women conduct themselves in society. And you know how I know this is true is because of the fact that every time we have a conversation about black women's behavior, the minority.
You know what these married black men gonna say in the FBA? I'm married, man. This is gender war content. I'm married, man. Shut your dumb ass up, dude. By that logic, like I said before, rich black people shouldn't care about what affects the majority of black people that's living in poverty. You know why they shouldn't care? Because they have money. So when you say I'm married, that doesn't negate the fact that the majority of black people are not married, and the majority of these black children are being raised by women. So you saying that you're married doesn't negate those facts. Well, I'm married, so I don't care about what affects the black community in general, but you claim to be a foundational black American speaking for the people. But he'll deflect and say, well, I'm married, as if that negates the fact that the majority of black women or black people are not married and will never get married. And when they do get married, most of those marriages end in what? Divorce. When they do get married, the majority of those marriages end in divorce for good reason. We'll get into that later.
That much. They always say, well, you guys are the leaders of the black community, so we are a reflection of you. And then you get brothers like that man who just said, I blame everybody else except for black women. So what's going to happen? It's like, oh, well, shit, we could do whatever we want. And then we could just fall back on, well, y'all the leaders, right? Y'all supposed to be responsible for our behavior. So whatever. You
can't say black men are the leaders, but you wake up choosing to do whatever you want to do and you don't listen to no man. You can't say that, well, I'm a whole black man to the standard of being leaders, but at the same time, I'm not going to do what I'm supposed to do as a follower. But when everything crumbles, blame the men. See, I've been saying this to the women for years. When women, now we're speaking about black women, I say this to my sisters out of love. When black women get an education, or if they accomplish something, they take all the credit, right? They say, I did this and I did that. But when you fail at something, you can't then and say, well, men are supposed to be the leaders. So you want to hold black men accountable for your failures. But when it comes to your victories and accomplishments, you take all the credit. You don't even mention a black man. You only want to mention a black man when it comes to your failures. I've been talking about that for years.
we're doing, we mirror you guys. So it's your fault. So we're just going to continue wilding out. And black men like this and Dr. Umar will continue blaming black.
Dr. Umar is a panda bear simp who scammed the community out of money. Dr. Umar is no one to listen to, especially when it comes to black love and relationships. No. All I'm saying is this to black women. When black women get college, good stuff that's going for that. The same way you take credit for the victories is the same way you need to take credit for the failures. Nobody told you what to do. You accomplished that as a woman. Fine. Salute. Congratulations. You take full responsibility of your accomplishments. Nobody helped you to achieve that. You did it because you were a strong black woman. Okay, you can't turn around and then blame your failures on a man when you don't give the man credit for anything that you accomplished. Like, I want black people to really look at that and say, damn, that makes sense. Red is telling the truth. You want to take all the credit for your victories, but you take no responsibility for your failures.
Because we're supposed to be the leaders, right? You see how that works? So if I was a black woman that was wilding out, I'd take advantage of that shit too. Like, damn, I could do whatever the hell I want. All I got to do is say black men, the leaders of the community. So, and that's going to be my saving grace. Hell, why wouldn't they? They use it all the time.
I can see FBA people, man, I ain't finna listen to this. This is gender work. I know you don't. I know you don't. If you want to be pandered to, this is not the platform for you. There's a lot of platforms that will pander and never tell the truth about these situations. Matter of fact, they avoid conversations like this. The beta male simps in the black community, all they want to do is talk about white supremacy and tethers all day with no solutions. A lot of these guys have figured out that black people just want to feel good. So what do? They pander to them and tell them what they want to hear.
Boy, community, my God, we are so backwards. And that's what led me to create this, to explain to the black community how this goes. You can't lead who doesn't follow. The claim is that black men are the leaders, so black women's behavior is their responsibility, our responsibility. But the
coaches all the time, but guess what? You can have the best coach in the world. If the players suck, you're not going to win a championship, right? Let's say you could have listen. Phil Jackson was one of the best coaches when he was in his prime, right? Let's say you got Phil Jackson to coach the Sacramento Kings. You're not going to win a championship. Why? Because you got a good coach, but the players suck, right? This is why it's called teamwork. It don't matter how good the coach is. If the players suck, you're not going to win a championship. So I know you want to blame the coach, and I know you want to blame the leader, but sometimes you got to look at the players. Sometimes you got to look at the followers. If the players suck, if the followers suck, it doesn't matter that you have a good leader. It doesn't matter that you have a good coach. You need good players as well as good coaches. It's a combination of both things. Listen, you can take let me give you an example. Let's take a man that grew up in a household where he's seen his father, his mother and father. They had a healthy relationship. They bought homes. They promoted education, and all the children became productive members of society. You can take that same man and tell him to go wife up a dysfunctional woman. He's not going to get anywhere with that woman because it doesn't matter how great his leadership skills are. She's not a good listener. She doesn't follow instructions. So it goes back to what I said. You need good players and good coaches. It's a combination of both things. I know you want to blame the coach. I know you want to blame the leader, but sometimes you got to look at the players. The players suck. You can take Phil Jackson. If Phil Jackson was coaching the Sacramento Kings or the Los Angeles Clippers, he's not going to win a championship. Why? Because the players suck, even though he's a great coach.
Reality check is this. Leadership requires authority plus relationship. Okay? Husband, wife, father, child, leader, group that agrees to follow, i.e. the military. So when the authority exists, leadership is recognized, accountability makes sense. But most black men are not married to most black women. I don't want to get that. I don't want to confuse you guys when I say that. Of the married black men, most are married to black women, not most black women and most black men. That's the total population. But within the married group, we are married to each other at an 82% clip. I just want to clarify because somebody tried to put that in the comments and they got checked. No relationship, no authority to lead.
In other words, I'm saying this. Let's say you a man that has money, you come from a good family, you're well studied, you're well traveled, you have family values, you have morals. You're not going to look for a woman that was raised in a dysfunctional environment, because guess what? She's not going to compliment you as a man. So you can't just get any woman. And what we're saying is this to these women, we're sending the wrong message. A lot of these women don't qualify for those men. Just like you would say, a man with no money and nothing going on doesn't qualify for a beautiful, submissive woman. Okay, a lot of these women who are dysfunctional, who grew up in dysfunctional homes and dysfunctional environments, they don't deserve a man. They don't qualify for a man who has it all together. They just don't. Right? I'm pretty sure Phil Jackson didn't want to coach the Sacramento Kings for good reason. I'm pretty sure Phil Jackson didn't want to coach the LA Clippers for good reason. So that proves my point. A man that has it all together does not want to marry a woman that comes from a dysfunctional family. She don't qualify for a man like him. What we're doing in the black community is we are telling dysfunctional females that they deserve the best man that they can find, when that's not true. You must qualify to deserve a man like that. The same thing when you want to get a job. You must meet the qualifications to get this job. You must meet the qualifications to get into a college, a good college. You can't just open the doors for everybody. So you got to stop. You got to stop telling these females who are dysfunctional, females who don't come from good families, who don't come from good environments. You got to stop telling these women that they deserve a top tier man, because they don't. Men understand, if I want to get a certain type of woman, if I want to live a certain type of lifestyle, I must get my money together to qualify for these things. Men understand that. You know you can't get a certain type of woman if you ain't got your stuff together. As men, we understand that. We must work hard, get it together, go hard in the paint to achieve the things that we want so that we can get the results that we are looking for. Okay, well, women got to understand the same thing. You are telling hood rats in the projects that somehow they deserve quality top-tier men. It's not going to work. She don't compliment a man of that caliber. She does not.
Okay? Marriage equals defined structure. Authority exists, leadership is recognized, accountability again makes sense. Okay? Men should lead women. This is how the narrative goes. Women, then black women will respond by saying, we're independent and we don't need a man. No authority equals no responsibility. You can't hold black men accountable for behavior they have no authority over. And you know who told us that loudly and proudly? Black women. So you guys cannot keep using that excuse of black men are the leaders when black men are the ones who are married and the ones that have responsibilities within their own realm, their own circle, community. They are responsible for them, not some random woman twerking on top of cars.
We be acting bad off liquor, all we do is throw it back. Shaking ass on top of cars, no I'ma fuck around and catch.
This is why they like men. I could do whatever I want. Because Dr. Umar gonna always black men's fault for what we do. Black men, Dr. Umar blamed black men for Sukihana.
If black men were being the men that our community need, would there be a Sukihana or a sexy red? The circumstances that gave rise to those two beautiful black women have.
So hold on, Dr. Umar. Is it the white man's fault or the black man's fault? You can't talk about systematic white supremacy, but then blame black men for the shortcomings of black women when you say that white men are the ones who are controlling the system. White men controls what's being promoted on social media. They control what's being promoted on television. So is it the white man's fault or the black man's fault? Come on, Dr. Umar, you got to set the record straight. You can't have it both ways. You can't talk about systematic white supremacy as the reason for the failures in the black community, but then turn around and blame black men for the shortcomings of the black woman. You just said it was a white man's fault. The white man and systematic white supremacy created these conditions in the black community. If that's the case, how you then turn around and say it's the black man's fault for the way that the black woman conducts herself? You sound dumb at that particular point.
To engage in the art men that our community needs.
So Dr. Umar said it's black men's fault for why we got women like Suki Hana. It's black men's fault for why we got women like Sexy Red. It's black men's fault. But hold on, you just said that white supremacy, you said that white supremacists and white supremacy created the conditions in the black community. Come on, man.
Would there be a Suki Hana?
We doing store back. Checking ass on top of cars. No, I'ma fuck around and catch.
This is why they like men. I could do whatever I want, because Dr. Umar gonna always say it's black men's fault for what we do. Black men, Dr. Umar blamed black men for Suki Hana.
If black men were being the men that our community needs, would there be a Suki Hana or a Sexy Red? The circumstances that gave rise to those two beautiful black women having to engage in the art form that they are in order to take care of themselves and their children, those circumstances that gave birth to this reality would have never been allowed to fester.
And it's all Jermaine's fault.
What world is this, man? It's worse, man.
I mean, Dr. Umar got to make up his mind, man. Do we blame white supremacy for the conditions in the black community, or do we blame the black man for the shortcomings of black women? If you listen to what he's saying, you're saying that white supremacy and white supremacists created the conditions in the black community. So if that's the case, you can't turn around and then say it's the black man's fault for the shortcomings of the black woman. It makes no sense.
Well, you got some internal issues, boy.
We all have a responsibility to play to make sure that image is protected and make sure we defend them when they are devalued by some other people.
All right, the biggest, go ahead.
Well, I want to start off by saying I love black women. So let's
Hey, he trying to protect this. He trying to protect this brand, brother. I understand what you're doing, man. We all love black women. It's still not gonna stop me from holding them accountable. Just like I love black men, it's not gonna stop me from holding them accountable. Okay, so I get what you're doing. You're trying to, I guess, edify yourself, or trying to, I guess, qualify yourself by saying I love black women before you say anything crazy, because you know how our sisters can be. I get it.
let's start with saying that. But I do think that they are vilified, but I think they have reason to be angry. They have reason to speak their mind. I believe a lot of times they move with a lot more masculine energy because they're in defense mode all the time. They've been scarred, they've been taken advantage of, and I believe that's why it gives. It's so easy to vilify them because they're always trying to defend themselves. They always want to prove something to the next person. They have to work a lot harder than, the other women in the world. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think about it, man.
And you said because of almost a protection mechanism, they use the masculinity to survive.
Yeah.
Would there be something necessarily wrong with that, guys? Derek?
Yeah, be honest about this, man. And like I said, Sonny, black women as a collective know better now. How long have people been having these conversations? I thought y'all were supposed to be embracing like femininity and soft life. Fair? Y'all know about, the education thing. The other races go to school to get a ring by spring. They get their degree and get their Mrs. degree as well. Y'all know better now. So shouldn't you do better? Instead of just still relying.
Yeah, man. And I heard a lot of black women say this. Well, black men are supposed to be the leaders, and you're supposed to be a submissive woman, not combative and mouthy. But you can't turn around and say white supremacy is the reason that we're being promoted in a negative light. How can you blame the system for the conditions in the community, but then turn around and blame the shortcomings of the black woman on the black man? It makes no sense. You want to blame white supremacy and black men at the same time. You got to pick a struggle. Either you're going to blame the black man for the black woman's shortcomings, or you're going to blame white supremacy. You can't blame both. Either you're going to blame the system or the black man. Which one is it?
These, these old tropes. You can fix it. You have the means to do so now. Fix it.
Well, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. The problem with the vilification, I think it starts with the double standards. I have a problem with, I was raised by strong black women who had very strong personalities. This did not.
Okay, this is a simp. He was raised by strong women. Did he say he was raised by a real man comes from a woman, and that is a major problem in our community. The majority of black boys' idea of what a real man comes from a woman. Why? Because they were raised by women and not by men. That is a major problem. Then you might say, well, where are the fathers? Where's the fathers? Let me be real with you. The majority of women in our community don't require marriage before they have children, which means they'll lay down with any man that makes them feel good in a moment. Oh, let me repeat that. And I know you don't want accountability, but I got to give it to you anyway. Unfortunately, the women in our community do not require marriage from the men that they procreate with. They don't. Right? So what happens? What does that mean? That means that they'll give their body to a man that makes them feel good in the moment. They don't require marriage. So if you don't require marriage before you give birth, that means that you will give your body to damn near any man that's attractive, that makes you feel good in the moment. Now you understand why there's all these babies with no fathers. Listen, you wasn't married. It wasn't a family. You had a baby with a guy that you was fornicating with. You didn't require marriage. That's why we have so many single mother raised children in the community, because we can say, okay, the black man, is his fault too. He shouldn't have children and not take care of them. I agree with that. You shouldn't have kids if you don't want to take care of them. Fact, I agree 100% when it comes to the men and their part. But at the same time, women in our community do not require marriage before they get impregnated by a man. All it takes is a man that they find attractive that makes them feel good in the moment, and they'll procreate with that man as long as he makes them feel good in the moment. And that is a major problem. Facts over feelings, baby.
Make them angry black women. The problem is when you see a white woman act out of character.
He said, I'm cutting in and out. I don't know why I'm cutting in and out, man. Maybe it's the internet, man. Hopefully, it's the internet. It's the internet, man. Hopefully, I don't know.
Character. Her behavior is not generalized and attributed to all white women.
Yeah. Brother, you are a black man. You know how this shit go. You know that we are vilified. Black women are the same way. So how do you correct that? You can take control of your ethnic image. Start speaking out. Start speaking out against the loud minority. That's all you had to say.
If you see a couple of black sisters and they fighting at the beach or whatever, why are we having a conversation about black women in general based upon the out of character behavior of a few?
Yeah.
Brother, I keep saying this. I'm acting like this dude can hear me, man. It's the loud minority. That's all they see. So that's going to take black women to take action against that. Instead of being silent, instead of championing them and say, hey, if you like it, I love it, cheering them on and shit like that, you got to speak out against it. We know this very well as black men. Okay? Just say that.
And that is where the double standard comes in. Right. And that is why we have to stand up and defend black women as a whole. Yes. And we have to separate the exception from the rule. Right.
How do we do that?
Black women that we saw on the panel that preceded ours, these were highly intelligent black women. If you follow them around throughout their day, you think they fussing and fighting and being cantankerous all day long?
Yeah, a lot of black men are simps, unfortunately. And, you know, we got a lot of weak black men, weak beta males, and we have a lot of unruly, combative females at the same time. I got to be honest about the community. So you're not going to hear this from these FBA channels because they're not going to be honest with the women, because when you tell women the truth, they flee and you don't see them anymore. You know, they don't want to hear conversations like this. They want to praise and worship service, but we're at the point in our community to where if we don't hold our people accountable, we'll never make progress. So if you want to be pandered to, you already know what channels to go to. But if you want the truth, this is the place to be.
They would not have been able to accomplish what they've accomplished. But catch them on the day when they're tired. Catch them on the day when they feel as if though
they're human beings.
They can't break through the glass ceiling and they have a right to be angry. All of a sudden, that moment becomes the standard for all black women. That don't make no sense.
So look, man, it doesn't make sense, but it is what it is. Black women have been telling you guys that they are having issues with the way that they are portrayed. So what I do is try and find solutions. And I keep going back to this Hinge report. Black women are complaining. They even went to great lengths to change their race to another race so they can actually see better caliber of men on dating apps. Now
we got to get you brothers to support this too. I've been speaking. I ain't seen none of y'all blessing the super chat or the cash app. So it says something about the audience, and we're gonna switch some things up because I see we need to make some adjustments just based on the amount of likes and the support that we get for these shows. I've been paying attention to that. So it ain't just the women's fault. A lot of you brothers won't support your best interests. You know, I've been paying attention to that. But you can't blame the black man and the white supremacy for the shortcomings of the black woman. You got to pick a struggle at some point. Is it the black man's fault or is it white supremacy? Because if you say, well, white people control what's promoted in the algorithm, white people enslaved us, they put black people in these conditions in the community, okay, well, then you're blaming white supremacy. You can't blame white supremacy and the black. If white men are the ones controlling the system, how do you then turn around and blame black men for the shortcomings of the black woman? It makes no sense. But even if you want to blame white supremacy and a white man, you can only use that. You can only use that excuse for so long, because guess what? White men don't pick your baby daddies. White men don't pick and choose the men that you lay down with, black women. Let me say that again. Hopefully it marinates on your mind 50 times. The white man don't choose the men that you sleep with. You do. The black man, the white man don't pick the men that you procreate with. The white man don't pick the men that you choose to lay down and sleep with. You made that choice as a woman. You made a choice you made that decision when it comes to the men who you sleep with. You pick and choose what men you give access to your body. So you can't turn around and then blame the white man when you made a conscious decision to lay down with the men that you laid down with. It's called accountability.
Problem. And the reason why that's a problem for them is because a lot of men aren't selecting black women as their preference on the dating apps. At first, black women thought they were being filtered out or discriminated against, but they soon found out that, well, shit, maybe these men aren't putting black women as their preference and they're swiping on women that they actually like. And then that's what led them to change. So they're feeling the effects on the dating market. They see how people view them, but nobody is willing to do anything about it, including black women. It's like, oh man, no, I ain't got nothing to do with that. And then we get brothers like this, like, man, it's cool. Let's go back to the history. This has been happening. It's everybody else's fault. But nobody is addressing the fact that, well, what do black women need to do to protect their own ethnic image? That's where the conversation needs to be had. And I was praying that the black women would have said something, but they didn't. They kind of brushed it aside and everybody started praising them. And this is typically how these conversations go. It's sad. Because if nobody is willing to hold black women accountable, then they're going to continue doing the same things, and we're going to have these, circular conversations.
We want black women to be perfect.
10 seconds.
No.
We want black women, and he said about the masculine energy. A lot of times, black women have to be masculine. They have to be the father because the slave masters stole the father away.
You see that?
See, now we blaming slavery, man. Like, this is nonsense. Black women today who have children can't blame the white man for the type of men that they lay down and sleep with. You can't blame the white man for the man that you chose to procreate with. You can't blame the white man for that. You made a conscious decision to lay down with the man that you laid down with. I don't want to hear the white man in slavery. I don't want to hear that. You made a conscious decision. Deal with it. Nobody forced you to sleep with that man that you slept with. Nobody forced you to do that. Stop blaming slavery. Stop blaming white supremacy. Learn something about accountability. Accountability is the key. There will be no elevation without accountability in the black community.
Even going back to slavery days, they bringing up the father not being in the household. Black men can't win.
Like, how you gonna blame slavery in 2026 when we all know these women made a conscious decision to sleep with the man that they chose to sleep with? They pick and choose who they get a body to. I don't want to hear nothing about slavery or white supremacy. I'm tired of hearing that. The white man didn't force you to sleep with the man that you chose to sleep with. Stop it.
Man.
They had to be the father because you couldn't have a father in the home and get welfare. So a lot of them.
You see that? This is where that narrative comes from. That's why I did that video breaking it down specifically, because we still got black men and black women spreading this false lie that the majority of black men were out of the household. It's not true. How can y'all simultaneously say that, well, back in the day, the black community was married at a 70% rate? Was that when black men went in the household? When they was married?
I'm tired of hearing white supremacy and slavery. I'm sick of hearing that. Because in 2026, black men and black women pick and choose who they sleep with. The white man ain't forcing you to do none of that. Now, can you blame white men for what they done historically to us in this country? Yes, you can. But when it comes to the people that you sleep with, the white man ain't telling you who you can sleep with, who you can procreate, who you can procreate with. You made a conscious decision to do that. You can't blame the white man for something that you did. You made a conscious decision. Live with it. Take accountability. It ain't the white man's responsibility for who you choose to lay down with. That is your fault, 100%.
70% rate? Oh my God.
They had to be that masculine. They had to have that masculine energy. So we shouldn't blame them. We should praise them.
And white
Look, see that? Hey, we shouldn't blame them. We should praise them. I wonder if black men get the same grace.
women have masculine energy too.
Amen.
All right, there you have it.
What I learned from this conversation.
Okay, let's ask this question. You say, okay, well, black women wear these wigs. They spend billions of dollars yearly on these lace front wigs, hair that comes from other races of women. Do you blame white supremacy, or do you blame the black man for the black woman? Do you blame the black man for why the black woman don't love her natural hair? Is that the black man's fault, or do we blame white supremacy? Or do we say, no, it's the black woman's fault? It's time for the black woman to hold herself accountable for why she don't love her natural hair and to why she spend billions of dollars on hair that comes from other races of women. Should black women be held accountable for the fact that they don't love their natural hair? Or do we blame black men, or do we blame white supremacy? Give me your thoughts in the comments.
That instead of evaluating the situation, the conversation shifted fully into protection mode. They start talking about history, oppression, justification. And again, those are real things. I understand that, black women. That's not what was being.
See, when it comes to black men who unalive each other to gangbang, we don't blame black women. We don't blame the white man. I hold black men accountable 100%. The white man ain't forcing you to unalive your brother. The white man didn't force you to join this gang. and solution. How do we prevent this from happening in the future? And now we're looking for the solution. Huh?
Asked. The question was about present day behavior and whether it's affecting Black women's perception. Okay? And this is the part I want.
Umar, let me try something. I'm going in and out, man. So if I'm going in and out, man, I don't know. Malfunction audio. Hold on, bro. I don't know what's going on.
Black people to really understand. I would actually rather listen to a panel full of Black women talk about Black men, positive or negative, than to listen to a panel of Black men talk about Black women. And the reason why is simple, man. Black women are going to be honest. I know that I'm going to hear how they really feel, the good, the bad, the exaggerated, the anecdotal, the delusion, what they believe is true but is actually false, everything. It is no holds bars when somebody asks Black women about Black men. They will tell you everything. They don't care about feelings, none of that. Whether you agree with it or not.
All right. How does this sound, man? Because I'm trying to fix this audio. People have been saying I've been going in and out. You know, I've been having that issue. So let's see if the audio was sounding better now. I don't know why we keep going in and out, man. But let's see if the problem is fixed, you know.
At least Black women's conversation is going to be very transparent to where Black men can understand what we're dealing with. Or
yeah, man, you gotta listen, man. We understand that white people, white supremacists created the conditions in the Black community, bro, but they're not coming back to fix it. They're not coming back to fix it. It is up to us to fix these problems moving forward. You know, that's what you got to understand. You know, somebody throws trash on your lawn, you can say, man, somebody did it, but yelling at the top of your lungs is not going to make those people come back to clean up the mess that they created in the first place. Unfortunately, we got to clean it up in order to make progress, in order to move forward, right? So it's all about prevention and solutions. Yes, we can say the white man has something to do with the conditions. You will be 100% correct, but he's not coming back to fix the problem that he created in the first place. Once you understand that, then you're going to think about the solutions, and then you're going to think about prevention moving forward. Crying about white supremacy all day ain't going to change a damn thing. What's the solution, and how do we prevent this from happening again in the future so that history won't continue to repeat itself?
we can actually get some truths out of it so we can change some things. But when Black men get into these spaces, Black men in public conversations often lean toward protection instead of critique. Why is that? It goes from analysis to defense mode. It becomes less about what's actually happening and more about how do we protect Black women. And the issue with that is if one side is allowed to be openly critical and the other side feels like it has to be protected, then you will never have a real conversation. You have an imbalance. You understand, Black community? Black men have been publicly criticized fairly and unfairly for decades in media, in relationships, in everyday conversation. That criticism has never been off limits. But when it comes to critiquing Black women, especially behavior that's visible, that same level of openness doesn't always exist in public discussions. And let me be clear. This is not about disrespect. It's not about generalizing Black women.
And Black women, I love y'all. I really do. It's impossible. Let me say, I say everything that I say out of love because I want Black women, I want Black people in general to do better. But the white man is not coming back to fix the problems he created. It's all about solutions and prevention moving forward. repeat itself, let's think about prevention and then solutions to fix the problems that exist in our community. Prevention to stop this from happening again so that history won't repeat itself. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Hopefully that marinates. Hopefully it registers with the content if we can.
This is about accuracy, because if the majority of Black women are not behaving this way, and I agree that they're not, then it should be even more important to separate the majority from the minority. We're not doing that. We can't address it if nobody is willing to address the minority at all. I'm trying to understand, it's help people understand that you don't protect Black women's ethnic image by avoiding criticism. You protect it by making sure the criticism is accurate and then address what needs to be fixed. Okay? So just going, back to historical references, Rosa Parks, all this type of stuff, slavery, and dancing around the actual issue, it's not going to help. It will never help. And that's why I always push back on Dr. Umar when he goes on these tirades or these diatribes about Black men and what we're doing, and you're the reason why Black women act like this. Nah, man, we can't keep doing this. And I know deep down, Black women as a whole understand that we can't do this, but sometimes this shit feels good. Pause. It's like, damn, man, we got all these people saying, our bad behavior is excused because we got Black men to blame Jermaine. Why would they stop? Think about it. Because like I said, Black men, Black women will not hold back. You ain't even got to tell Black women to criticize Black men. They gonna do it regardless. On anybody's platform. It don't matter. But for some odd reason, when we try and have a direct conversation about where Black women, the minority, can improve, it turns into, hey man, let's go ahead and protect them and defend them instead of addressing the issue. And that's a problem. Okay? So shout out to them, man. I mean, hopefully, they do better, but I pray that they do a mirroring type of panel where the focus is on Black men. I pray that they do it because I want to review it and you guys are going to see a stark difference. Oh my God. I may even write Isaiah to be like, hey man, do another panel so we can see the difference on how Black men are held accountable and how y'all spoke about Black women.
All right, man. So what we're going to do right now, we've been having some issues with the audio. Hopefully everything is sounding good because like I said, man, talking about tethers and white supremacy, that's cool because we do need to call people out and hold them accountable. But at the same time, we got to hold our people accountable as well, because when you know better, you got to do better, right? The people who destroyed your community, they're not coming back to fix it. You got to find a solution. You got to think about prevention moving forward.
Sad, man. It's definitely sad.
Your the Isaiah Factor
So all I'm saying is this: when I mentioned Dr. Umar, and I say this to Black women, you can't say that white people are promoting Black people in a negative light, and white people have full control over the media and what's being promoted, but then turn around and blame the Black men for your shortcomings, but then take all the credit for your achievements and accomplishments. That makes no sense. If you're going to take credit for the good, you got to take credit for the bad. Let's say if I decided to coach a basketball team, let's say I take credit for my team winning the championship, but the next 3 years they lose, but I don't want to take responsibility for them losing. I only want to take credit for the victories, but I don't want to take credit for I don't want to take credit for our losses. It don't work that way. The same way you take credit for the victories or the same way you take credit for the losses. But unfortunately, a lot of women in our community, they'll take credit for the victories, they'll take credit for their accomplishments, but when it comes to their shortcomings, they want to blame the black man or white supremacy. And saying maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I could change this moving forward. Solutions and prevention is all about solutions and prevention. If you take credit for the victories, you also must take credit for the failures. It works both ways. You can't say I'm a strong black woman and I got this college degree and I'm successful based on what I did for myself, but then turn around and blame the black man for your failures and shortcomings. It don't work like that. Or blame white supremacy for your failures and shortcomings. It don't work like that. If you take credit for the victories, you also must take credit for the failures and shortcomings. That's how it works. When Phil Jackson made the Lakers champions, he took credit for that. When the Lakers started to lose, then they had to look and say, is it the coach or the players? But like I said, you can't always blame the coach for the bad outcomes. Sometimes it's the player's fault. It ain't got nothing to do with the coach. Or maybe it does have something to do with the coach. It's both ways.
Is the new face of villainy in America now black women? This comes as we're being bombarded by more and more videos on social media of them in street fights and brawls on reality shows. In the last week alone, black women have been blamed for the chaos at Daytona Beach's spring break. Law enforcement even calling one out by name, demanding $1 million in restitution for the damages in that city.
Here is number one offender, Laya Brooks. She got a certified letter basically saying that has come to our attention that you're advertising, promoting, or sponsoring, or organizing, or arranging via social media a Daytona Beach takeover.
That even some black men blaming black women for the new dress code at the Houston Livestock.
Man, nobody can tell these women how to dress. Like, come on, man. Do you tell these women how they can dress? No, they pick it. They choose what they want to wear. Nobody tells them what to do. We got to stop treating these women like they're children, but then when they accomplish something, you give them all the credit for their accomplishments. You can't then turn around and blame black men for the way that they dress and conduct themselves. Just like you can't blame black women for the way that black men conduct ourselves. You made a choice. Live with the consequences of your actions. Stop blaming other people for something that you chose to do.
Rodeo.
Embarrassed us so bad for the Houston rodeo that like this have to be talked about. And we've been telling y'all this. We've been telling y'all that black American women, FBA women, have they ass out everywhere you go.
And then there's this guy who describes black women this way on social media.
What's your least favorite race to date?
I want to say black girls. Like, black girls have great personalities, but they're like apishly aggressive, you know? Apishly like manly sometimes, you know, the way they act. You feel me?
No, I don't.
Some say no matter how educated or successful, some black women have been constantly vilified, like politicians Jasmine Crockett and Kamala Harris. Hence,
you can't blame nobody for how Jasmine Crockett and Kamala Harris are looked at. Jasmine Crockett Jasmine Crockett don't represent black women in a positive light. She don't. Jasmine Crockett reinforces all the negative stereotypes about black women 100%. She's to blame 100%. Can't blame the system. Can't blame the white man. Jasmine Crockett is to blame 100% for the way that she conducts herself. Nobody tells Jasmine Crockett what to say or how to talk. And even if they did, she's a grown woman. She's responsible for how she conducts herself. No one else is to blame. Look in the mirror, take accountability. It is your responsibility to carry yourself in more of a positive fashion.
Question remains, are black women being vilified in America now? And of course, we have a panel of guests here, women, important women. Let's well, yeah, you black too. So let's get to it, Yolanda. Is this over-exaggeration? Is this a fair assessment? Unfair, your thoughts about what we're seeing on social media bombarding us.
So first of all, it's not new. Black women are always the boogeyman, like always. We're angry, we're aggressive. These are all things they say about us. And so...
Be real with you. Nobody's going to look at this woman and say she's feminine. You're going to say she's loud-mouthed and combative. Who believes that this woman right here is feminine and cooperative? No, she doesn't. I got too much experience with black women to not know what I'm talking about. Nobody looks at this woman and believes that she's feminine and cooperative. You're going to say that she's masculine and combative. And she's going to blame the black man, or she's going to blame white supremacy for her own actions and outcomes, unless it's something positive that she can take credit for.
I don't know why people are paying attention.
So let's get to it, Yolanda. Is this over-exaggeration? Is this a fair assessment? Unfair? Your thoughts about what we're seeing on social media bombarding us.
So first of all, it's not new. Black women are always the boogeyman, like always. We're angry, we're aggressive. These are all things they say about us. And so I don't know why people are paying attention to it now. It was not true then, it's not true now. And if I am angry, considering black women are the #1 target of everybody, then I'm justifiably angry. If I am angry, so I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna own it. So again, this is not new, it's old, but you know what? I've been black all my life, I'm gonna die black, and the one thing—
do anybody in the comment section believe that this woman is feminine and submissive? Energy does not lie. I got too much experience with black women. I know what I'm talking about. Nobody in a right mind will look at this woman and say that she's feminine and submissive. Nobody in a right mind would say that. I'm just being honest. She's argumentative, she's combative, she's a loudmouth.
I know black women will do is we will survive and we will thrive. And y'all can just keep hating, because for whatever reason, your name always on our lips. And so we must be doing something, because you want our lips, you want our backsides, you want it all. You want our color, you roasting yourself, you're looking old before your time.
How you gonna talk about culture appropriation when you got blonde hair? This doesn't make any sense. Black women, I'm saying this out of love. When you buy hair that comes from other races of women, you ain't got no damn business talking about culture appropriation. When you're spending your hard-earned money on hair that comes from other races of women, or you're dyeing your hair blonde, that in itself is culture appropriation. That is the, man, come on, man. And I don't want to, you black people got blonde hair too, man. I don't want to hear that stupid stuff. That's not your natural hair color. I don't want to hear nothing about culture appropriation. If you got a lace front wig and hair from other races of women, I don't want to hear nothing about no culture appropriation. Now, if we're talking about a feminine, submissive black woman with natural hair, she might have a point when she calls out other races of women for culture appropriation. But if you got on a lace front wig and hair from other races of women, or if you're running around with blonde hair, you ain't got the right to talk about culture appropriation. You ain't nothing but a hypocrite at that point. Stop it. I don't want to hear nothing you got to say.
You want everything black. You want a culture on our lips. And so we must be doing something, because you want our lips, you want our backsides, you want it all. You want our color, you roasting yourself, you're looking old before your time, because you want everything black. You want to culturally appropriate.
All right, Angela, let's hear from you, your thoughts about this.
So here's my thoughts about this. I think the reason we're seeing more and more of these incidents is because people have cell phones, people have social medias. I don't think it's necessarily something that's new. I think it's been a problem that's gotten more and more aggressive. And this is about individual behavior. This is about people who do not take responsibility for the way they act, look, behave. I can remember being a teacher in an inner city school, and I'd have 1 or 2 mothers 2 or 3 times a week, sometimes every day, coming in 30 minutes late with their bonnets and their pajamas and their footies, bringing their kid in, stopping my class 30 minutes late every day, and then getting copping attitude with me when I would say, you need to bring your child on time. We have a situation where in the black community, unfortunately, there is a lack of father and parental father strong figures in the home. And so you're seeing a lot of behavior because of that outcrop of that. And instead of like blaming whitey or blaming slavery or whatever the things that are going to be blamed on this panel, I'm 100% sure, instead of blaming Whitey, why not take a look at the behavior that's going on with some members of the Black community and have a come to Jesus with them about it?
Bunke, your thoughts about this?
Now, does that white woman have a point? I know they're gonna say, "Oh, she a white, she ain't got no business talking." Did that white woman make sense? So it seems like they got a Latina, a white woman, and 3 Black women on this panel. Now, do anybody in the comment section agree with this white woman? She said Black people must take a look in the mirror to fix their own problems. Is that true, or do we blame it on white supremacy, or do we say, nah, Black people need to take accountability and make better decisions moving forward? Or do we say, nah, it's the white man's fault? We blame it on systematic white supremacy. We blame it on the white man. Give me your thoughts. Do you agree with this white woman, or do you say she need to quit talking about Black issues? That white woman need to be quiet. I don't know. Give me your thoughts.
Blaming Whitey or blaming slavery or whatever the things that are going to be blamed on this panel, I'm 100% sure. Instead of blaming Whitey, why not take a look at the behavior that's going on with some members of the Black community and have a come to Jesus with them about it?
Bunke, your thoughts about this?
Well, I've been a teacher at both inner city and suburban schools. In the inner city, we were never scared of school shootings, right? So when we're talking about different groups being vilified, if we're looking at the history of America and who has done the most violent crimes, it's your people.
All right. Shout out to Vernon85 for the Cash App. Shout out to Vernon85 said, keep cooking. I will, bro. Shout out to 92 Dolo for the Cash App. He said, H-Town. Shout out to the Medium, man. Yeah. Shout out to the BS is real. He said, keep giving the knowledge. I appreciate you, bro. Shout out to Lim Hendricks. He said, peace and salute. B1 FBA. Shout out to Derek. Shout out to Derek Foles for the Cash App as well. Shout out to my man Tamika. Excuse me. Shout out to the homegirl Tamika for the Cash App as well. My bad. Hit the like button. It ain't nothing.
Shootings, right? So when we're talking about different groups being vilified, if we're looking at the history of America and who has done the most violent crimes, it's your people. In regards to the way Black women are viewed, I'm going to continue speaking, but I'm going to make sure that you're not intimidated right now, are you? I want to make sure you're comfortable, because as a Black woman, that's what we have to do in order to have a platform, right? In order to be able to speak uninterrupted, you have to make sure that you make somebody else feel comfortable. So outside of what we're seeing on social media, we know that 600,000 Black women have been laid off, have been pushed out of the workforce, when we continue to be the most educated group of people in this country. And if we're looking at this panel, that's also evident. All right.
Well, if you're saying Black women are the most educated, then why do Black women have the most problems out of other races of women? Oh, I get it. It's white supremacy. Like, if you, in one breath, you say Black women are the most educated, but then you say, well, how come Black women are having the most babies out of wedlock? How come Black women have the most overall debt in this country? How come Black women are the least married? Do you then turn around and say, well, that's white supremacy? Because if you're the most educated, you should have better outcomes if you're the most educated. But then they might say, yes, we're the most educated, but white supremacy is still keeping us down. I don't know, man. Give me your thoughts on it. Do you guys truly believe that Black women are the most educated or the most indoctrinated? Give me your thoughts in the comments. Because in my honest opinion, if you're the most educated, you should have better results than what you're getting. Your results should be better. When you look at the roast, when you look at what they're, anyway, let's move on.
Let's hear from you. Your thoughts about that?
She ain't lying. Okay, well, I graduated magna cum laude in a language that I just learned at the time.
All I'm saying is, like, if you're going to say you're the most educated, you should have better results. If you're the most educated women, you shouldn't be the least married. You shouldn't have the most babies out of wedlock, because educated women should have better results. Or do you say, well, that's because white supremacy? It doesn't matter if Black women are the most educated. White supremacy is keeping them down. Now, do you agree with that? Or do you say, nah, man, that's BS. Black women created their own conditions. You can't blame white supremacy. When you claim to be the most educated, you should have better results. You shouldn't have the most babies out of wedlock. You shouldn't be the least married if you are the most educated. Now, there's two things you can do. You can say, yeah, Black women need to do better. Or you can say, well, you blame white supremacy for Black women having these results. Right? Now, we don't claim to be the most educated as Black men. You don't hear Black men running around saying that. If you claim to be the most educated, you should have better results. That's my honest opinion. And that's not me putting black women down. I want black women to do better moving forward. I'm holding them accountable so that they can do better. There will be no elevation without accountability in the black community.
Because I am from Venezuela. And we see the aggression in this panel with Yolanda here to my right, and that's the problem. But now let's talk about Kamala and Jasmine Crockett. You know, Jasmine Crockett is the best example of somebody that instead of representing their community with grace, is just being loud, is just being aggressive, and is dancing in the halls of Congress. And then we have Kamala, which we all know she got where she got on her knees. Her story is way long. And she just got where she got because she filled many boxes in the DEI. Let's talk about merit, not about color. As a Latina, I don't think any woman of any color with that behavior represent me as a woman. I'm a minority. I want people to get places based on merit.
All right, Jasmine, Terry, let's hear from you.
So I think we need to stay on topic. So we're going to go back to Yolanda for her initial. Let's go back to history, right? Black women were told to cover their hair because it made white women uncomfortable, right? So the reality is, whether you breathe or not, baby, we're the standard. And that's what it is. The beginning and the end starts with the black woman. So regardless, whether you want to admit it or not, I think for the both of you, you stay on topic, because what you just spoke about had nothing to do with what we're talking about.
Absolutely did.
So we're going to go back.
Let's hear what the Latino woman said again, because she said, if you're the standard, I'm going to say this to black women. If you're the standard, you need to stop buying hair from other races of women and find a way to make your hair better. That's all I'm saying. And if you say that that's bashing, then you've been listening to all these hotep pro-black simps that will never hold you accountable, which is why you will never elevate, because the black man in the conscious community refuse to hold black women accountable. They won't be honest with them. They won't tell them the truth. Black women, stop. Listen, listen, do you guys know that hair is DNA? Hair is DNA. 100%. Hair is DNA. You can't say that somebody's copying you when you're buying hair from other races of women. That doesn't make sense. When you put that hair in your head, you do realize that is somebody else's DNA. That is somebody else's DNA that you're putting on your hair. So you don't have the right to talk about cultural appropriation if you're wearing the DNA from other races of women. That doesn't make sense. You sound foolish. Now, if you're a black woman who's natural, that takes care of her hair, you have beautiful hair, you have the right to talk about cultural appropriation. But if you are a black woman that buys hair from other races of women and you have another woman's DNA on your head, you have lost the right to talk about cultural appropriation at that particular point.
The story is way into their community with Yolanda here to my right.
Your thoughts about that?
She ain't lying.
Okay, well, I graduated magna cum laude in a language that I just learned at the time because I am from Venezuela. And we see the aggression in this panel with Yolanda here to my right, and that's the problem. But now let's talk about Kamala and Jasmine Crockett. You know, Jasmine Crockett is the best example of somebody that instead of representing their community with grace, is just being loud, is just being aggressive, and is dancing in the halls of Congress. And then we have Kamala, which we all know she got where she got on her knees. Her story is way long, and she just got where she got because she filled many boxes in the DEI. Let's talk about merit, not about color. As a Latina, I don't think any woman of any color with that behavior represent me as a woman. I'm a minority. I want people to get places based on merit.
All right, Jasmine, Terry, let's hear from you.
So I think we need to stay on topic. So we're going to go back to Yolanda for her initial. Let's go back to history, right? Black women were told to cover their hair because it made white women uncomfortable, right? So the reality is, whether you breathe or not, baby, we're the standard. And that's what it is. The beginning and the end starts with the black woman. So regardless, whether you want to admit it or not, I think for the both of you, you stay on topic, because what you just spoke about had nothing to do with what we were talking about.
Absolutely did.
So we're going to go back.
Stop interrupting.
Let me land. So the reality is, for the both of you to sit on the side of me and talk about aggression, what is the difference in what you're doing and what we're doing right now? Having a conversation. And yet we're the one, you just literally called out both of these black women on the panel, and you sit here with your attitude and you have a problem, but you tell them that they're aggressive, right?
Well, I have a long story with Yolanda.
So we talk about it.
She mad because I whooped her in congressional race.
So black women.
You were
Let me finish, please.
And I graduated magna cum laude.
Aggressive.
Do you agree with the Latino woman? Do you feel like what she said was true and accurate, or do you agree with the black woman? Because the black woman said what she said had nothing to do with the topic. Did the Latina make sense, or did the black woman make sense? Give me your thoughts in the comments. I want to see what y'all think.
That's so normal.
Thank you so much. So as a black woman, we're going to talk about history and we're going to talk about facts. So the moment that you realize that black women are the standard and who we are and what we provide into this world and to what we give to America in general, then you need to understand that. And so the reality is everyone gaslight us and tell us who we are and, oh, you're so aggressive. No, we're not. But when you sit here, you jump behind a microphone and you're yelling and screaming and giving your attitude and what you do, it's okay, it's acceptable.
Hang on a minute.
Wait a minute, and you're the same person. Let me finish. And you're the same person talk about calling Jasmine Crockett Miss Ratchet.
She's
and
Representative Ratchet.
So the reality is when you sit here,
Ratchet. Now, if you're denying the fact that Jasmine Crockett is Miss Ratchet, I don't want to hear anything you have to say after that, because now you're working with feelings and emotions while overlooking the facts. At that point, I don't want to hear anything you have to say. Jasmine Crockett Jasmine Crockett does not represent black women in a positive light at all. Jasmine Crockett is Miss Ratchet 100%. So if you're making excuses for that, I don't want to hear nothing you got to say, period. Oh, I know what you're going to say. You're only picking on Jasmine Crockett because she's a black woman. No, we're picking on Jasmine Crockett based on her behavior and the way that she conducts herself.
right here, you're considered as being applauded for what you do, right? But the minute a black woman has an opinion and we have something to say,
it has nothing to do with having an opinion.
All right, we'll be right back, and we'll let them continue this conversation in just a moment. Stay with us here on The Factor Uncensored, and later we'll hear from the men. Stay with us.
Okay.
Welcome back. It's a big question tonight. Are black women being vilified in America? Let's get back to our guests. So if this is a problem that we've constantly seen over the years, over decades, how do we address it?
I don't think there's a way to address it. You know, I mean, what I think the ladies next to me, at least two of the ladies next to me do, is put on a big girl, black girl panties and like just stop the whining.
Yeah, we already understand that Latinas and Latinos side with white tea people. We get it, right? But now we're dealing with talking points. Did the Latina woman make sense, or do you say she's full of ish? Did the Latina make good sense, or do you say she's full of ish? Give me your thoughts in the comments.
And, you know, it's interesting, they're talking about education, it's merit. Well, I mean, I'm a lawyer. I graduated magna cum laude. I mean, I was voted the most outstanding senior at the University of Houston. And I'm a double minority. I mean, I'm a black woman. When I walk in a room, you know I'm black. And the first thing they say is that I'm aggressive. You know what? Matter of fact, my mother taught me to look you dead in your eye when I'm talking to you and speak as I have something to say. And it's interesting that
so let's be real. The older black woman is talking. She's not feminine. She's pretty damn masculine and aggressive, right? You could see it in her tone. You could feel the energy. If you've been around enough black women, you know what it is when you see it. There's nothing feminine about this woman. She could talk about her degrees and accomplishments all she wants. It doesn't negate the fact that she is masculine, combative, and aggressive. You know, I just got to keep it a stack with you.
Trying to act like she's a wallflower. Angela got one of the biggest mouths on this panel.
I don't
and what she always does, Angela literally has no home training. Angela does not allow people to speak. She always interrupts because she tries to distract. I'm not worried about Angela because when she's moving, she ain't saying nothing. She's whining. She's trying to get the camera to look at herself. Now tell me why that's not aggressive.
All right,
right?
Angela, let's hear from you.
I mean, Sarah Palin, Caroline Christie Noem, Mark G. Taylor Greene are all aggressive.
All right, let's hear from Angela.
This is the way this woman walks around the world. I don't walk around in the world like that, and I guarantee you that most of the people in this panel do not walk around in the world like that.
That's why you got fired at HISD.
No, that's not why I got fired at HISD, but
So
that's
I think-
I'm not done. Hang on a minute.
Lower your voice.
Hang on a minute.
Thank you.
Here's the thing. Back to my whole premise here. This is about individual behavior, and if you're seeing a spate of black women or black people in general just acting wild and out, dressing like hoes, ghetto ratchet behavior, and people are calling it out. Not just white people, black people are calling it out, Hispanic people are calling it out. They're tired of it. That's why this black fatigue thing has taken hold. And again, with all due respect, the women on this panel are not.
Well, you can't talk about black fatigue without talking about white fatigue. Look at all the negative things that white folks have done in this country. See, one thing that I don't like about this white woman is, yeah, you might say some things that make sense, but you're not holding your own people accountable. It's easy to hold black people accountable. I don't mind holding black people accountable. But when it's time to hold your people accountable, it's crickets. That's what that's the pushback that I have for this white woman. Where's the accountability for your people and all the problems that they didn't cause in the country? You have no smoke for your own people, but you want to talk about black fatigue.
Who people are annoyed with, okay? Because the women on this panel are very successful, are very articulate and well-spoken. And I think instead of being defensive about
you literally just insulted Yolanda and said this is how she walks around in the world.
She's the exception.
I'm not worried about her.
She's the exception. Instead of being offended by saying that this might be a problem with certain black people, why not have a conversation in the black community about
All right, Bonke, and make sure we stay on topic
Absolutely.
here. Okay.
I think this panel is a microcosm of what we're experiencing. No matter how we present, we're still considered the same thing, right? I intentionally lowered my voice a few decimals, and I was still called aggressive by somebody who has never met me, right?
Listen, man, just because you lower your voice don't mean you're not aggressive. I know a lot of aggressive people who speak in a low tone. I know a lot of people who speak in a high tone that are not aggressive at all. They're not combative at all. They just talk louder. Just because a woman is speaking in a softer tone doesn't mean that she's not being passive aggressive or disrespectful. A lot of women have mastered the art of being passive aggressive. They're very disrespectful. They just learn how to speak in a softer tone, but it doesn't mean that they're not. It doesn't mean that she's not aggressive. You got a lot of people who are passive aggressive, and they'll speak to you in a certain tone and say, well, I'm not raising my voice, so I'm not being disrespectful. You know how, listen, somebody can disrespect you to the 10th power, and they ain't even got to speak loud to do it. You ain't got to, listen, you ain't got to be loud to disrespect somebody. So when people say tone, there's a lot of people who speak in a soft tone, but they're very condescending and disrespectful. So I don't want to hear that. I lowered my tone, but yes, in so many ways, you're delusional and disrespectful.
Going back to the social media trends and what we're seeing, and then the outlash, at the end of the day, and Jasmine, right, she pointed this out, black women, we are the backbone of American culture. So if we're talking about clickbait, we know that in this economy, attention
I would like for her to explain how the black woman is the backbone of American culture. I would love for her to explain that, right? The backbone of what? Like, if you're going to claim to be the backbone of the culture, you need to explain that. You can't just say it, explain.
Currency.
Absolutely.
So of course they're going to come after black women because we continue to always move the needle when it comes to any kind of metric you want to look at. Any kind of success metric, any kind of attention metric, going back to beauty standards, we're often emulated. And the truth of the matter is our divine essence is what's intimidating. And so you find these very visceral reactions to us just existing as everybody can
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll come back and let Jasmine and Carmen wrap us.
All I'm saying is this to people in the black community. You know, you got a lot of beta male simps in our community will say this is gender war content, right? And it's not gender war content. A sickness that goes untreated only gets worse. That's the facts. I'm giving you the facts. A sickness that goes untreated only gets worse. Seriously. So if you're going to say you're the backbone of the community, if you're the backbone of the community, how could you turn around and then blame white supremacy? If you're the backbone of the community, that means you should get better results if you claim to be the backbone of the community. You can't then turn around and blame white supremacy when you claim to be the backbone of the community. That's all I'm saying. If you claim to be the most educated group of people in America, you should have better results. The most educated women should not lead in single motherhood. The most educated women should not be the least married. The most educated women should not be the most obese. Right? You shouldn't have, listen, that shouldn't be the case with the most educated women, because the most educated women should get better results. Why? Because they know better. If you know better, you got to do better. Stop claiming to be the most educated when you're getting some of the worst results. And I say that out of love. I'm not saying this because I want to bash you. You're not the most educated. You're the most indoctrinated. I'm not even saying that black men are the most educated. I'm not fixing my mouth to say that. The black woman is not the most educated woman in America. The black man is not the most educated in America. That's not true. The most educated people should get better results. Action speaks louder than words. You can say you're the most educated all you want, but the results don't prove it. The results show the complete opposite.
We'll be back. Stay with us. Welcome back. The topic is, are black women being vilified? Carmen, wrap us up.
Well, bad behavior always takes precedent. And
I've been telling you that, man. Just because somebody is soft-spoken doesn't mean that they're not condescending and disrespectful. There's a lot of people who speak in a soft tone but are very disrespectful. So I don't want to hear this tone language.
Many times the minority with bad behavior is what is being exposed. And this is the reality of what we're seeing. And that's where in occasions, like for example, when Yolanda behaved like that, she is also acting in bad behavior, even though she's a very accomplished woman. So why don't behave properly and in the manner that people expect as a state representative, as a U.S. Congresswoman in the case of Jasmine Crockett?
All right, Jasmine, close us up. 30 seconds.
So the question is, are black women being vilified?
Yes.
And I have a question for the both of you. Do you see this in America today, black women being vilified? Can you answer yes or no?
No.
No, it's about those women.
It's about behavior.
So the reality is you guys do not exist in reality.
I don't believe that black women are being vilified. Is there a such thing as white supremacy? Yes. I believe black women are causing their own problems, just like I could say that black men are causing a lot of our own problems. No, black women are not being vilified. They're being held accountable for their actions and their decision making. 100%. No excuses here. You chose to lay down with the men that you laid down with. You gave a man a baby without no commitment, without no ring in marriage. That is your fault. The white man didn't make you do it. I don't want to hear nothing. You're not being vilified. You're being held accountable for your actions. If you can take credit for your accomplishments and achievements, you can also take credit for your failures and shortcomings. That comes with the territory, baby.
And honestly, furthermore, it's actually shameful because you sit here and you don't see the racist things that you do right now.
Let me say this. I don't blame white supremacy for the black man's problems. The black man could easily fix his problems. So if I'm not gonna let the black man blame his problems on white supremacy, I'm not gonna let black women make that same excuse either.
You don't see it, and you literally, whether you're joking off camera, on camera, whatever, you don't see what you project out regarding black women. And it's actually sad because to sit in between the both of you, and we're letting you know that we feel vilified, and you have no sympathy, no empathy. You have no. Let me finish. And what I'm saying is, the fact that you can sit here and say that you don't see what goes on in America today means you do not recognize history, and you are not within reality.
Ladies, we'll be back. We'll talk to the man next.
Sees it about bad behavior.
Welcome back to The Factor Uncensored. We're talking about black women.
Black people, you can't use white supremacy as an excuse for your shortcomings and bad behavior. You can't do that no more. You can't do it no more. We all know that the white man created some of these problems, but it is up to you to come with the solutions. It is up to you to deal with prevention and solutions. Conditions, you're right, but black people and their behavior is causing the problems that they have in their own communities. Black women, you lay down with men who never married you. You don't require marriage before you have these babies, and when you struggle as a single mother, then you got the nerve to talk about absent fathers because you are now struggling as a single mother. You lay down with a man that never had plans on marrying you. Now that you're struggling as a single mother, you want to blame the black man and white supremacy. I'm not going to let you make that excuse. You made a conscious decision to lay down with the man that you laid down with. The white man didn't pick your man for you. You chose the man that you laid down with. Can't blame the white man for that. Can't blame the black man for your shortcomings, but then you want to take the credit for all of your accomplishments. But blame the black man or white supremacy for the shortcomings. It don't work like that.
Being vilified here in America. Joining us now, the men to talk about this subject. We have podcast host, the biggest community activist, Derek.
Hit the like button. It ain't nothing, man. Where my people at, man? We already heard these dudes, man. I just wanted y'all to hear the women. But when you think about this, I say this all out of love, man. If you're going to take credit for your accomplishments and achievements, you also must take credit for the shortcomings and the bad results. We all know that women in general, not just black women, but if we're speaking about black women, we all know this. When they get college degrees, they take credit for it and say, I was strong and independent. I went to college and I did this, or I'm making this type of money. They'll take credit for all the good stuff, but they take no credit for their shortcomings. They blame the black man or white supremacy for their shortcomings. No, it don't work like that. If you're going to take credit for the good stuff, you also must take credit for the bad stuff. All facts, family. The problem that I have with a lot of FBA men, they make this FBA content every day talking about tethers and white supremacy, but they never talk about what affects the black community when it comes to marriage and relationships. Because if they talked about that, then they know at some point they got to hold a black woman accountable, and they refuse to do that. They're too afraid to run off their female fan base, so they never talk about accountability in our community when it comes to marriage and dating. Nobody forces black women to lay down with the men that they choose to procreate with. They made a conscious decision to lay down with the men that they laid down with. Nobody's forcing them to sleep with the men that they chose to sleep with. That's the reality that nobody wants to deal with, except for black men like me who holds everybody accountable for their actions. I'm tired of hearing about tethers. I'm tired of hearing about white supremacy. Of course, that is a reality, but this is a reality as well. This ain't gender war content. I'm giving you the facts and reality. It's called accountability. Learn to take some. Come get it. Make sure that you smash the like button if you love this conversation in a major way, in a real way. Talking about white supremacy and tethers all day ain't going to make marriage rates go up in the black community. Talking about white supremacy and tethers ain't going to stop these women from having babies out of wedlock. It ain't going to stop these black men from gangbanging and unaliving each other. Talking about white supremacy and tethers all day ain't going to change those facts. At some point, you got to hold black people accountable for the decisions they make in their personal lives. Seriously. Now, it's cool to acknowledge white supremacy. It's cool to acknowledge the tethers that we have. But if you're not going to hold black men and black women for their own bad decisions, community, you're making content like this for financial gain. Although, by large, it ain't helping. You blame it on systematic white supremacy, or you blame the black man for the black woman's shortcomings. I let black men blame black women for their shortcomings. I don't want to hear that. Just like I'm not going to let black women blame black men for their shortcomings. I'm not listening to that. It's foolish at this point. Hit the like button if you haven't already, baby. Who want to hit the link, man? I think I done said everything I needed to say about this. Make sure you guys bless the like button. Hit the link. I got Pretty Boy in the background, and let's see who else we got. So I'm gonna give you guys 2 more minutes to bless that like button. Yeah, man, like talking about white supremacy and tethers all day ain't gonna change the fact that black women are the least married and they have the most babies out of wedlock. Talking about white supremacy and tethers all day ain't gonna change those facts. It's not. Black men who want to gangbang and unalive each other, the black men, some of these black men who don't want to take care of their children, talking about white supremacy and tethers all day ain't gonna change that fact. Seriously. At some point, we got to hold our people accountable for the decisions they made. The white man ain't forcing you to lay down with the man you chose. The white man didn't force you to lay down with the man you chose to lay down with. The white man didn't force you to do that. You chose to have babies by men who didn't marry you. The man you lay down with had no plans on marrying you. He didn't marry you. So at some point, you got to be held accountable for your actions and decisions. Stop blaming white supremacy for the bad choices you made in your own life. Now, in general, you can hold white people accountable for the conditions they created, but you chose the man that you had that baby with. You made a conscious decision to lay down with that dude. So at some point, accountability is on you. Nobody forced the black man to gangbang and unalive his brother. You can't go to prison and then turn around and blame it on the white supremacy. You made a conscious decision. Dre, what's going on, Dre?
Oh man, what's good, bro? I see you over there cooking, man. You over this joint turning it up, man. And this is a great topic, man, because at the end of the day, the buck stop with us, man. Like whether it's politically or the personally, can't blame them other ones for your decision. Like the ball is in our court right now. I mean, we 50 million strong. We got $2 trillion. We like a $2-3 trillion people. We got all these degrees. It's on us now. It ain't on the tethers or the white man no more. And that's what people try to use that. You know, a lot of people, they want to use that because they want to live in the past because they know they can't do nothing in the past. That's why they living in the past. But the past is the past. We can't do nothing about that. This is now. This is the future. You got to move beyond that. And that's what a lot of people, they're using that as an excuse to hold them back. No, we know they created some of these problems, but you got to look at what you doing. You ain't doing it no better. You doing worse than that. But I keep on doing the degeneracy and all that, the gang banging and stuff. Nobody, like you said, nobody told you to gang bang. Nobody told you to go through there, slide and do that. And what they're doing, and at the end of the day, by you doing that, they're capitalizing off our dysfunction. That's exactly what's going on. But you want to sit up there and blame and play the victim mentality. But at the end of the day, you got to fault yourself, man. And, you know, we got to do better as a people. If we want to move forward, we got to step our game up.
Yeah, I've been saying that, Dre, because it's like, you know, when it comes to the shortcomings of black women, they say it's black men fault or white supremacy. But when it comes to their degrees and accomplishments, they take full credit for the positive things, but no credit for the bad things. And that's why I got to hold black women accountable on that. And I'm pretty sure all of you people, if you're being honest, you will say, yeah, black women take all the credit for their achievements and accomplishments, but no credit for the shortcomings. It's either black man's fault or white supremacy. Yep. They're not going to say, well, I made a bad decision. I laid down with a man who didn't marry me. I had children out of wedlock. Now I'm struggling as a single mother. They never hold themselves accountable. They blame the man or they blame the black man or white supremacy. You know, and unfortunately, that's the mentality of a lot of women in our community. They want to take credit for the good, but no credit for the bad. You know, let me bring up Pretty Boy, then I'm gonna bring up Virgil Berry, then I'm gonna pass it back around. Pretty Boy, you got it, bro.
What's up, fam? Happy Sunday.
What's good? So yeah, man, this is a great topic. You know what I mean? Just like the brother was saying, you know what I'm saying? We got no excuse anymore. I mean, it's like we live in the information age now. So there's like you could basically, if you want to become knowledgeable, if you want to become educated on whatever topic, it's basically at the touch of your fingertips. So it's like I have no like empathy or sympathy for people
Oh yeah, man. You know, hell yeah.
that don't even actually like take the time to learn about something, but then always speaking on stuff that they don't know about. Where you could just actually just takes like 30 seconds with AI and everything. So like this is very unfortunate that the women, right? The women, you know, what I mean, and our men are just playing a blame game at this point. So now it's like it's time to move forward with our people. You know what I mean? It's time to move forward. We gotta move forward. We gotta put the foot to the gas and like and press through the things that are actually going on with us in this country. You know what I mean? It's like at the same time, it's like when you see somebody say, "Oh, we're the most educated," and we're no, just like you said, Red, they're the most indoctrinated. Indoctrination does not mean education. You know what I'm saying? That means that you just been indoctrinated on a specific topic. You know, that's why if you notice, all these fools lost their freaking jobs a few years ago with all their degrees. Over how many jobs were lost? 60,000 because your stuff is becoming irrelevant. You went to school and got a degree in philosophy or communications. Come on, bro. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're past that. You know what I'm saying? So now you're the most indoctrinated, but then you're 60 to 80% obese. You know what I'm saying? I'll tell you one thing, educated people aren't obese. Okay, because they know through being educated on something, you know that you're sick. You know what I'm saying? That you are literally sick. So what do? You fix that. Because self-love is the first love above all love, right? You know what I'm saying? So that's part of education, being educated. Okay. So just because you got a little paper somewhere from some university that made you pay $80,000 to get that freaking paper doesn't mean you're educated, kid. That to me, that's stupid. It's like, no, you're a good worker bee. Okay. So, at this point in time, and as far as black people go, we need to get off the plantation, first of all, in the first place, and start doing your own thing. Start contributing to to each other. Start you see a brother or a sister that has a business or something like that, you know what I'm saying? But it's like and they're selling something, you know what I'm saying? Stay off the taco truck. You know what I'm saying? That's an educated decision. Okay? Because that's something that's actually going to progress your people. It's going to progress your children. It's going to progress your great grandchildren in the long run. Do we want to be eliminated as a people? That's what I'm trying to figure out. It's like, do we want to have no longer be genetically relevant on this planet? If we want that, keep doing what we're doing. You know what I'm saying? Keep gobbling down all this flop and slap and going to these fast food restaurants and thinking, oh, this is a good food, and then dying of a heart attack, but thinking just because you worked out, you did something. You know what I'm saying? They're feeding us poison. Okay. So guess what? Does that make us educated because we decide to take that route? It's like you got all
Yeah.
this rubber and plastic in your hair and glue and stuff, and that's educated. Just like you said, Red, is that educated, bro? You know what I'm saying? If you're the most educated, why are you putting rubber and plastic and Mei Ling and Hu Fang's hair in your head, gluing it to your freaking head? You thinking
I'm
that's
gonna say
not
this,
causing
pretty
some
boy.
kind of
I'm gonna say this, pretty boy. Black people, and not this is bigger than black women. We are not the most educated people. If we were, we would have better results, bro. Like the results.
Exactly.
Listen, this is what I'm gonna say real quick. The result speaks louder than words. You can claim to be the most educated all you want, but if you're not getting the results to prove it, then you're just talking. Or you can say, well, it's white supremacy fault. It's the white man fault while we're getting the results that we're getting. Or you can look at yourself in the mirror and make better decisions moving forward, right? Or we can say this. If we're going to say we're the culture and the trendsetters, if we can make negativity positive, surely we can make positive things we can make positive things cool. If we can make negative cool, okay, now it's time to make positive things cool. in one breath, we'll say we're the culture and the trendsetters. If we're the culture and the trendsetters, it is time to make positive things cool. I'm gonna let you land your plane, pretty boy, and I'm gonna pass it to Virgil.
For sure. It's like, and back to just to bounce off what you just actually said in regards to, and what they were saying about, oh, we are the culture. It's like no, you're not the backbone of the culture. It's like there's no such thing as the backbone of the culture. You're not the backbone of the culture because men, we created the world that you live in. Basically, that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? We built the world that you live in. All men. Okay, we built the world that you live in. Think not. You really think not? Let's be realistic. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so you can't be the backbone of the culture. Now, you are the people that project the culture. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're the ones who exploit the culture, that you throw the culture out there. It's like, you think not? You could look at our music, look at hip hop. Just look at the history of hip hop as it progressed into what it is right now, into ratchetness. You know what I'm saying? Into ratchetness, and ratchetness is like all this sex type style hip hop, and it's like it's being projected out there. It's being pushed out there. And who's like the face of it? It's the females. You know what I'm saying? Like the female rappers right now are some of the biggest artists, but look at what type of rappers they are. No,
Yeah, man.
hardly anything positive.
Pretty boy,
Okay, go
I'm gonna
ahead,
bring
go ahead.
Virgil. Yeah, I'm gonna bring
For
you
sure.
back up. All I'm saying is
For
this.
sure.
All I'm saying is this, my people. Hold on real quick, y'all. Hold on real quick. All I'm saying is this, brothers and sisters. If we can make negative things, if we can make negativity cool, surely we have the power to make positivity cool. I don't want to hear no more excuses. Black people have the power to make something cool. If we start dressing a certain way, the world will change. They will start to do it. Okay, if we can make negativity a cool thing, we can make positive a cool thing. It is up to us to make change, because let's say you want to say, oh, well, the white man created the conditions. I agree with you. The white man did create some of these conditions, but when you know better, you do better. The image that black people have today is our own fault, because black people promote these negative stereotypes for money. Black men promoted gangster rap for money because they got paid to do it. Black women are now over sexualizing themselves for money, so they are promoting themselves in a negative light for financial gain. You can no longer blame the white man, because the white man compensated you for what you did to yourself and how you decided to promote your people. You sold out. You said, all right, I'm gonna take this money. I'm gonna take the white man's money, and I'm gonna show my ass and over sexualize myself because I'm getting paid to do it. So at that point, you have nobody to blame but yourself. You made a conscious decision to promote yourself in a negative light. Now you want to complain about the backlash. No. Let me bring up Virgil Berry. Then I'm gonna bring up Mr. Moore. Virgil Berry, you got the floor, my brother.
What's good with you, Red? What's good with everybody, man?
Chilling, brother.
Man, this is a good topic, man. We done touched on this plenty times before. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the comment section and all of that. Saying shout out to my brother Red and all that, man. We done touched on this plenty times before, man. And like we said, man, I heard a lot of people in the comment section, saying, as well as the chicks y'all know online talking about this, saying that it's our fault. You got these sucker ass, old simp ass dudes talking about it's our fault. Like, man, we are not responsible for y'all's behavior, man. Just flat out, no more than y'all responsible for ours. At least when we become adults anyway. You know what I'm talking about? But when it comes to how y'all's image is portrayed specifically, and especially online now, since that's like the main platform, or how we even interact and engage with each other on stuff like this, you know what I'm saying? Y'all's in control of that. You know what I mean? And I hear a lot of people saying, Red, like, we only can exploit y'all if y'all allow yourselves to be exploited. And y'all try to take it to the rap music, like the old simp ass dude just said about the calling the chicks B's and H's in the music and stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like, and I'm not saying that to justify it, just is what it is, though, man. But a lot of chicks, a lot of black chicks fit that stigma. They fit that stereotype. Y'all display the exact behavior like the Latina lady said. You know what I'm saying? We're not siding with the Latino lady because she's Latino. She said something that was true. Yeah, that behavior is commonplace and known amongst y'all black women. You know what I'm saying? And although other groups of women can display that behavior, they're not known for it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all more known for it than anybody else. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to y'all image, man, it is not our fault that y'all are the way y'all are, especially online. That's y'all got total, complete control of that. Just like Red said, when y'all was getting compensated financially for it, monetarily, in exchange to exploit your sexuality, y'all jumped on board with it. And now look what we see online. You know what I mean? And y'all the same group of chicks that expect real ones to like wife y'all up and stuff like that. And it's crazy because, you know what I'm saying, now that we seeing the behavior displayed on the way that it is, you know, on the internet, we get to see the full aspect of it. And I just was having a conversation with somebody where like, listen, like, because a lot of chicks think because they're getting all this critique now that people are hating on them, or even us black men, like we hate y'all. Now, it's not that we hate y'all, man. It was just the spotlight is on y'all now. So, you know what I'm saying? We seeing all aspects of y'all's behavior, and especially through social engineering, and we seeing it in real time, and we critiquing it. It's just the spotlight ain't never been on y'all like how it is now. So, you know, it always goes to now people hating, or even us black men, we hate y'all because now we speaking about it and we saying something about it. You know what I'm saying? And the scrutiny is heavy, and it just goes to show that most women, specifically our women, they can't handle the scrutiny. You know, they just can't handle it. You know what I'm talking about? So, yeah, man, you know, it's the spotlight is on y'all. You know what I mean? And y'all got to be able to take it, handle it, and get the positivity out of it, especially when real ones like myself, ones like my brother Red, when we speaking on it, because we're not speaking on it from a perspective of hate or disdain like a lot of guys are, because, you know what I'm saying, we guys like myself, I'm pretty sure like my brother Red, we done had our way with chicks most of our life, so we looking at it from a different perspective. You know what I'm saying? We're not looking at it as like we've been hurt and scorned by chicks, so we mad online saying what we're saying. Now, we done had experience with y'all. We done dealt with y'all throughout our lives. You know what I'm saying? So we know y'all's behavior. We know how y'all act, and mess with enough of y'all to know that it's a mass majority of y'all that have all of these characteristics that are similar. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just
What are
being
your
on
thoughts on
display
this,
now.
Virgil? I want to ask you a question, Virgil. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on when they say, well, black women are being, the white man is promoting black women in a negative light versus black women promoting themselves in a negative light? What are your thoughts on
Right.
that?
Right. I just was speaking. That's what I'm saying. Like, now given, you know what I'm saying, the so-called YT people, they run the media platforms and all of that, right? True, that's given, yes. But they could only promote the media if it was there to promote, meaning that y'all are the purveyors of the image and the behavior. Y'all have fully taken it on. Y'all have embraced it. Y'all have glorified it. Y'all have put it on a pedestal. You know what I'm saying? Y'all even pride yourselves on this stuff. Look at how a lot of chicks are conducting themselves online. Y'all promoting this Jezebel spirit, if you would. You know, rebellious. Nobody can tell me nothing. I know it all. Really don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Emotionally fueled responses or reactions to everything. You know what I'm saying? Going online, just saying the most stupid, craziest things that don't make no sense. You know what I mean? And like y'all actually, a lot of y'all be displaying the exact stereotypes that y'all is so offended by. And it's kind of crazy though, Red, because it lets you know where the delusion is to the level to where it's having an effect on the psyche for real, because a lot of chicks just don't see this as a problem. Like they want to be able to display this behavior and us accept it as respectable when it's not. So as far
Yeah,
as the
man.
white man influence y'all to do anything, nah, the white man ain't influence y'all to do none of that stuff. The white man ain't got nothing to do with y'all going in the black man restaurants, busting it open on his tables. The white man ain't got nothing to do with y'all going out there to Houston, being half naked at the goddamn rodeo. White man ain't got nothing to do with that. None of this stuff online we see, the white man ain't got nothing to do with none of that. That is all y'all wearing them down, spending $10-12 billion on wigs and weaves and stuff, man, last year. That ain't got nothing to do with the white man except they capitalized off of it. But if it wasn't there for them to do it, they wouldn't be able to. So
Yeah,
that's
and
how I feel about that aspect of it,
yeah,
Red.
yeah, you're right about that, because the thing is this, man. At this point, black people are taking a white man's money. You can't take the money from the white man and then complain when you're being promoted in a negative light. You took the money for it. So what you're saying is, I'll take the money and I'll exploit myself. But when the backlash comes, then you want to point the finger at the black man or white supremacy. No, the white man gave you money to promote yourself in this negative light. You took the money, so shut up. I don't want to hear nothing. So we can't say that we're being promoted in a negative light when we know that black people are willing participants when it comes to this behavior. You took the money, shut up and deal with the consequences of your actions. So I don't want to hear the white man. No, you made a conscious decision to do what you did. The white man didn't force you to sleep with the man that you decided to procreate with. You made a conscious decision of who you decided to give your body to. So I don't want to hear this white supremacy tether talk. Like, it's cool to talk about that, but when you talk about white supremacy and tethers all day, you're making excuses for black people behavior. You're telling them that their bad decisions ain't their fault, and which is why they'll never make progress, because you're giving them an excuse at that point. Well, I can
That's a fact.
And if things go wrong, I can blame black men for not leading us, and I can blame no, bro. Black men make conscious decisions every day. The white man didn't tell you to unalive your brother. You made a conscious decision to join the gang. Life is all about choices. You made a choice. Yes, we know the white man had a hand in creating a lot of these conditions, but at the same time, you became a willing participant. When you know better, you do better. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pass it to Dre. Dre, man, where you at, my brother?
Yeah, man, and I want to like piggyback on what you said. At the end of the day, once you take that money, the hand that pays is the hand who rules. You got to carry out that agenda. That's what you got to do. And I want to also piggyback on with Pretty Boy. It doesn't matter whether you got a 3.0, 4.0, 4, 5, 6 degrees. If you're not politically intelligent, you're not intelligent at all. You probably intellectually intelligent, because if you was politically intelligent, you wouldn't keep voting for these liberal and democratic open border policies that's causing degeneracy and destruction to your community. But at the end of the game, I don't blame them. That goes back to you as, like you said, that goes back to you as the individual. You made these political decisions. You chose to vote for these open border liberal policies, and now it's detrimenting your community because of a political decision you made. Because you made that decision off your feelings and off your emotions, and you got to stop doing that. And at the end of the day, us men and women, we got to hold each other accountable and make better political and personal decisions.
Yeah, and 100%, because nobody's forcing black women to be ratchet. Nobody's forcing them to have these babies out of wedlock. They made a conscious decision to sleep with the man they slept with. Nobody's forcing black men to do the things that they're doing. At this point, we're making conscious decisions. Blaming a white man is a thing of the past. It ain't nothing but an excuse at this point. Oh, well, the white man controls the media. Yes, and you uploaded the video of you doing some ratchet BS, and the white man decided to capitalize off your ratchet dysfunctional behavior. Yes, you did it. You made a conscious decision. The white man didn't tell you to upload these videos of you shaking your behind, talking loud and stupid and being ghetto. So if the white man decides to capitalize off of it, listen, if I was a white man, I'll capitalize off of your ignorance too. You damn right I would.
Exactly.
Listen, bro, we got to understand the white man is just doing his job. Why would the white man come back and fix a problem that he created in the first place? Why did the white man create the problem? Because he wanted black people to be a permanent underclass. So when you know better, you do better. If I was a white man, I would capitalize off of your ignorance too.
Exactly. And then they wanted to blame Adam 20, and they wanted to blame Vlad TV. No, that's their job. But nobody told you to go on their platform and explain about gang politics and unsolved crimes and stuff. Nobody told you to do that. You chose to go up there. And so when you get popped by them folks, you want to blame them. No, you had to blame yourself because you chose to go up there and speak on something that they didn't even supposed to be spoken on.
Right. This is why you never see me, and you're right about that, Dre. This is why you never see King Supreme making videos blaming Adam for black people's stupidity. This is why you never see me blaming Vlad TV for black people's stupidity. All those black people volunteered to go to those platforms to talk about their business. And why did they do it? They was looking for fame and money, so you have yourself to blame.
Clout chasing. instead of them building their own platform like you do. And then they go up there and incriminate themselves talking about cases and stuff. And then you wonder why the feds swooped in on you. Then you want to go around and talk about somebody snitch or somebody told. But you actually told on yourself because you wanted to go up there because you wanted the fame, you wanted the spotlight, and you wanted the clout chase. And so all that clout chasing, that fame and that spotlight got you a 30-year sentence.
Yeah.
What could you say?
Now you want to say, oh, the white man is exploiting us. It's the white man's job to. It's the white man's job. Stupidity, fool.
Yeah, I would do it too. Hey, you can't blame him.
Hey, bro. Literally, it's the white man's job to exploit.
You can't blame them.
Can you blame the white? Hey, man, we all know America was built on capitalism. So it's the white man's job to capitalize off of your ignorance and stupidity, fool.
Yeah, and not just him. Everybody else do it too. Everybody else do it because they study us. Like you said before, they study us. They study our behavior, everything. So they know we very welcoming. They know we gonna open. They know we love to roll out the red carpet for everybody else. So what they gonna come do? They gonna do the exactly same thing what the white man does, and like the Koreans do it with the weave and the perm. If you stop spending weave and perm, that's a $30 billion industry. You could take $30 billion and build your own schools and build your own stuff right there.
Hey, that's a fact, Dre. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna pass it to Pretty Boy, and after that, I'm gonna let everybody land their plane. So Pretty Boy go first, and Virgil, and then I'm gonna let Dre land. Go ahead, Pretty Boy. Let me see. Pretty Boy, you there, bro? Hold on 1 second. Hold on. There you go, brother. There you.
Yeah, you got me. You hear me? Okay. So yeah, man. It's like we're almost like we long to be eliminated. It's just like OG said, man. You know what I'm saying? It's like these people are complaining about stuff, about positions that they put themselves in. You know, you go on, you know, because they want the fame. They want the fame. They want the notoriety. All those things. You know what I mean? But it's like then we can't complain like that. Like you said, Tom and Barney and all them people. You know what I'm saying? They didn't put the the pistol in your hand and tell you to take the shot. You know what I'm saying? That's on you. It's like, so I don't really feel sorry for a lot of people in regards to our community. I mean, it's like we know what we're doing. It's like because we've been doing this for years. For years. It's like it's nothing new. You would think, okay, if we're so educated and so righteous and so as far as like knowing what to do, we should be able to fix it and click it, right? Oh, well, this is part of the game. We done messed up. So let's go another route. But no, we still keep going down the same rabbit hole. And it's like, okay, you know, how many times do you need to get slapped in the head to finally just go, okay, like it's time for us to wake up? Because that's what's wrong. It's like we just keep producing and we keep producing. The next generation is doing the same thing that the generation before did. You know what I'm saying? It's like, why? It's like, why you keep creating these people and creating these scenarios and keep, instead of like trying to change it? It's like I don't get it, you know what I mean? And that goes across the board. It goes through our whole community and a lot of things we do. We know right now the immigration problem is an issue. It's a real problem. But yeah, you say it's a real problem. We know what they're doing. We know that they're unaliving us. At the same time, we know that they're making money off of us. But yet we go outside and we go spend money with them. It's like what, you know, it's like almost like we love the abuse, like we love the pain. You know what I'm saying? Like we love for these things to happen to us. It's just like the brother said, man, what we do, we turn around like, you know, people turn around and vote and they vote for the same exact people that used to be your freaking slave masters. Make it make sense, bro. I don't understand. You know what I'm saying? It's like these Democrats, they are historically, you could look this up, you can go research any book about a U.S. government, the start of U.S. government. You could look it up online. How about going to a library? You ever been to a library lately? You know, you could look up the stuff there too. You know what I'm saying? It's more authentic, and you'll find out the Democratic Party was the slave party. It was the party of the slave trade. bro. It's like, but you're gonna vote for that? What kind of sense does that make to me? To me, that just doesn't make any sense, bro. It doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
man. Hey, man. This is what I'm gonna say, pretty boy. Black people are responsible for the majority of their problems nowadays. You can talk about white
Exactly.
supremacy all you want. Yes, white supremacy does exist, but black people in general are responsible for their own bad decision makings. You voted for these democratic policies, which led to open borders in this country. Black women say that black men can't tell them what to do, but when they fall short, then they blame the black man or white supremacy for their shortcomings while taking credit for their achievements and accomplishments. Man, I've been peeping this game for way too long. I see through this nonsense. Black people in general are responsible for their living conditions today. I don't want to hear it no more. I'm tired of hearing these tether conversations and these white supremacy conversations. Black people are responsible for their living conditions for the most part today. Why? Because they're, like you said earlier, we have all this knowledge at the tip of our fingers. You didn't capitalize off of the knowledge that's available to you. It is your fault for being in this condition that you're living in. I don't want to hear nothing about no tethers and white supremacy. You are to blame for your living conditions. Black people have made some of the dumbest decisions possible. I'm gonna let you land, pretty boy.
That's real talk, Red. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's a hard pill to swallow. This is medicine. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes, you gotta take your medicine to get healing, right? You know what I mean? It's like if you don't take your medicine, whatever the medicine is you decide to choose to take, you know what I'm saying? How you gonna heal yourself? The thing is, we gotta heal ourselves right now. And it's like, and when we keep on putting into these projects and look into these celebrities as some type of what I'm saying, saviors and stuff. It's like, bro, it's like we're so much more as a people than freaking celebrities, bro. Celebrities have to do with luck, and has to being a celebrity has to do with luck and having to do certain things behind that casting couch that other people won't do. It's like, you don't know this by now, and these are the people that you guys look up to and want to follow and make richer, bro. It's like, I don't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And like all of our leaders have told you, our leaders that were about something, that had backbone, had told us that the celebrities and the boule ain't about nothing. But yeah, you still running over to these people, still trusting these people, bro. I don't know, man. Black America, we got an illness, and we need healing, bro. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Okay.
And I land,
Well,
bro.
I
Thank you
appreciate
for
you,
letting
pretty
me
boy.
up, bro.
I appreciate you,
All
my
right,
brother. Yeah, we gotta
for
we gotta
sure.
finish in another 6 minutes. So shout out to Pretty Boy for pulling up. I'm gonna let Virgil Berry go, then I'm gonna let Dre land the plane. But yeah, man, black people, you can't blame white supremacy no more. You got all this information and knowledge at the tip of your fingers. You didn't capitalize on it. You continue to wallow in your own ignorance. You have freedom. Listen, life is all about choices. Women, you chose to have babies by the man you chose to have babies with. Now that you're a single mother and struggling, you blame men and white supremacy. Black men, you can't gangbang and unalive your brothers, but then cry about white supremacy now that you're doing life in the penitentiary. You made a conscious decision to gangbang and cause death and destruction in your own community. You made a conscious decision. I don't want to hear nothing about no white supremacy no more. You made a conscious decision. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear nothing. I'm gonna let Virgil land his plane, then I'm gonna let Dre land, and we're gonna close the show. Virgil,
Yeah,
you
man,
got it, my brother.
that's a fact,
Hold on, let me
man. Just
see.
like
There you
you can hear me. You can hear me, Red?
Yeah, you got it. You got it.
All right, yeah, exactly, man, and that's a fact, man. Just like Scoop said in the comments, man.
Yeah, I can hear you, brother. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, shout out to Scoop. Just like Scoop said in the comments, man, it just comes down to, man, just stop being ignorant, man. All this information is out here. We've been online talking about this stuff for the past 15, going on damn near 20 years straight. All the different people who done came in here talking about whatever they talk about specifically concerning us, man. It just comes down to stop being ignorant, Red. You know what I mean? We are responsible mostly for the conditions that we are in as foundational Black Americans. Of course, white supremacy, we all know all about all of that stuff. But listen, like you said, when you know better, you do better is an old saying amongst us. That's something that we came up with amongst all the other stuff we come up with. Yeah, and a lot of us know better. We just choosing not to do better for whatever various reasons we not. But that's just what it boils down to, Red, man. We know better. The information's out there. We have access to it. There's lots of us who talk about this type of stuff online every day, Red, myself, and most others. You know what I'm saying? It just comes down to the point to if you're going to do it or if you're not. If you're going to remain ignorant or
Shout out Virgil. I don't know what was going on. I'm gonna let shout out to Virgil. Yeah. When you know better, you gotta do better. Ain't no more excuses. Like, listen, there's no such thing. The black community is not a patriarchy. The black community is not led by black men. So it means that every man and woman for themselves. So you don't get to blame the black man for your shortcomings. The black community is not a patriarchy. Now that women have equal opportunity to make their own money, they can't then turn around and blame black men for their shortcomings. The black community is not a patriarchy, it's a matriarchy. You fought for equality. You have equality. Now you must deal with the consequences of your actions. Black men can't blame black women for their problems and living conditions, and black women can't blame black men for their problems either. If you're going to take credit for all of your achievements and accomplishments, you also must take credit for all the failures. It works both ways. I'm going to let Dre land the plane. Dre, you got it, my brother.
Yeah, man. I feel like many of us, we are psychologically conquered and defeated as a people. This is responsible for our own shortcomings. But at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save us. We're gonna have to save ourselves. No Republican, nor Democrat, no mayor, no governor, no president, no city council, nobody. We're gonna have to solve this problem on our own, or one day we ain't gonna be able to solve this problem. That's all, it is what it is. And another thing, stop listening to these celebrities, because the only thing they do is keep us distracted with all this gossip, all this nonsense, and things that's not even irrelevant. And I'm gonna go ahead and land right there, partner.
All right. Well, I appreciate everybody for pulling up today,
sure.
man. Shout out to Dre. Shout out to everybody that pulled up to this panel. Black people, you can't hold nobody. You listen. You got to hold yourself accountable if you want to make progress, right? The black community is not a patriarchy, which means black women are not led by black men. So if they're not led by black men, they're responsible for their own decision makings. Period. The black man can't blame the black woman for his shortcomings, and the black woman can't blame the black man for her shortcomings. You can't do it. Everybody has freedom. You make your own decisions and choices when you wake up every day. You're to blame. You need to be held accountable for your own decision making. Nobody told you to lay down with that man and have kids by a man who didn't want you. Now, as a result of that, you're struggling as a single mother. Black men don't get to blame black women. If you lay down with that woman, you must deal with the problems. You got to fix the problem. You lay down with that woman and created the issue. Now it's your job to fix it. You don't get to blame women. You got to blame it on your own decision making. That goes for black men and black women. I don't want to listen to no black people. Listen, yes, we can hold white people accountable. I'm not saying that we shouldn't hold white people accountable. But at the same time, the white man is not coming back to fix the problems that he created. It is up to black people to fix these issues moving forward. There will be no elevation without accountability in the black community. I've been saying this for years. Yeah. Everybody has choices. We pick and choose the people we sleep with. If you a woman and you lay down with a man and had babies and he didn't marry you, well, you picked that man. You never required marriage from that man. And if the man decides to dip off and leave you, then you have to say, well, I made a conscious decision to sleep with that man. Now you must deal with the consequences of your actions. And what are the consequences of your actions? You are a single mother. And as a result of you being a single mother, you are struggling financially. You have nobody to blame but yourself. Talking about white supremacy ain't gonna change the conditions in the black community. It's cool for us to acknowledge white supremacy, but it ain't gonna change your living conditions. It ain't gonna change what's going on in your personal life. Talking about white supremacy, you got to hold yourself accountable to make better decisions moving forward. The white man is not coming back to fix the problems that he created. It's all about solutions and prevention 100%. And I'm gonna land right there. Peace, love, and blessings, giving you gain to keep you from stressing. It's your player partner, man, King Supreme. Make sure that you guys hit that like button and support the show. Yes, I'm gone. Black people, I'm telling you, nobody's coming to rescue you. Nobody's coming to save you. You got to fix your own problems. You can, if the white man created the problems, some of the problems in the community, you will be right if you said he created some of these conditions, but he's not coming back to fix it. It is up to you to fix it. It is up to you to come with the solutions. It is up to you to think about prevention. The white man ain't coming back. He ain't coming back to fix the problems that he created in the first place. He ain't coming back to fix it. It is up to us to fix these problems and come up with a proper solution. And also, let's think about prevention so that history does not repeat itself. I'm going to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. This is one of the realest channels you're going to get. Talking about white supremacy and tethers ain't going to change our living conditions in our communities. It's not. We can talk about white supremacy and tethers sometime because it makes sense. But at some point, you got to hold black people accountable for their actions. And